I think nobody is surprised. Obviously, we have some stuff to talk about from a fantasy football perspective, but I do want to give a shout out to the Eagles fans. I mean, congrats. It's the first time the Philadelphia Eagles are 8-0 in franchise history, or at least according to Shefty, if we're going to trust the man. So that is awesome. I mean, the Eagles, the only undefeated team as is, going to 8-0. That is awesome. They do it in a way where we get a lot of fantasy points, which is what I like to see, which is what I will be talking about. But before we get into it, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this video / stream. Y'all know we live stream every single day. I've not missed a single day of live streaming in well over 100. Usually we make them a private stream after, but you know what? I kind of want to recap this game. So we'll go through and we'll actually leave this live stream up as a video. So if you're watching this as a video later on, fix your life, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. And of course, if you want to check out any of these player props, you can find the link to that in the comment section if you're in the live chat right now, in the description, or in the comment section if you're watching this as a video later on. When you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. And on top of this, because I worked my butt off to get y'all this, I worked my butt off to get it. I want you to take advantage. We have Derrick Henry over under half a rushing yard for everybody on Sunday night. This is only for people who use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy. If you signed up for Underdog and you used a different promo code, I'm sorry, you're not going to have this available to you. But go and deposit $10 with promo code FLOCK. You'll immediately have $20 in your account. Go take the more than half a rushing yard on Derrick Henry with that $20. But I think that should be it. We've stalled long enough. We have the thumbnail set up on this bad boy. We have the chat turned to subscriber only. Now I think the only thing we need to do is get the poll set up to remind people to drop a like on this live stream. Before we answer any questions, I do want to go through and I want to recap this game because I was kind of surprised to see a few different things. The main thing being Dameon Pierce. Now with Dameon Pierce, honestly, I don't know how the man did it. He looked so damn good out there in a very tough matchup. I know some people want to say, I don't even want to care. I don't care what the haters say about the Philadelphia Eagles defense. They're 8-0. The Eagles are great all around. With Dameon Pierce coming through in one of the least talented offenses in the entire NFL, the Texans managed to score 17 points, but this is on Dameon Pierce's back. 27 carries, 139 rushing yards. He doesn't get involved as a pass catcher, which is kind of funny because we were saying his one hope was to get involved as a pass catcher as the Texans trailed this game. Shout out to Dameon Pierce. Looked phenomenal. If the Houston Texans offense can somehow be better going forward, of course, Dameon Pierce will be. Now, the issue is, does Houston score more than 17 points very often? I'd say probably not. And now we don't have to talk about any of the pass catchers for Houston. You don't want Davis Mills. You don't want a single pass catcher. They're all useless. Let's go over to the Philadelphia Eagles side. And Miles Sanders looks pretty damn good. The 17 carries, 93 rushing yards, and the rushing touchdown. Nothing in the passing department either. Very similar to Dameon Pierce here. What is interesting is if we're looking at this, it doesn't matter how good Miles Sanders looks any given week, you are still going to have Kenneth Gainwell with this 4 carries deciding that he needs to vulture a rushing touchdown away from Miles Sanders. So that's a little frustrating. Boston Scott gets absolutely no usage. Kenneth Gainwell is involved as a pass catcher as well. I think Gainwell is probably worth the roster spot just with the off chance that you were to have an injury to Miles Sanders, then all of a sudden you needed to go through and actually start Gainwell as a running back that has a red zone role and obviously a role in the receiving game as well. Dallas Goedert, 8 receptions, 100 receiving yards and the receiving touchdown. A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 59 receiving yards and the receiving touchdown. Smith giving you nothing much. We didn't say to start Devonta Smith this week because the Philadelphia Eagles were not going to have to throw the ball with aggression in the second half. They were going to be able to get away with just running it against a Texans team that I thought wasn't going to be competitive, but I mean, the Texans helped. They put up more of a fight than I actually thought they would. But I think that's enough covering the game. Not too many other things that we need to talk about. Let me go through and dive into some of these questions here. Our first one coming out from Return to Reason. I'm sorry, actually, Colin says trade Lamar and Pickens for Patrick Mahomes. Worried about Lamar. We have Kelsey at tight end. Yes, I'd be fine with this. Specifically because you have Andrews injured and we have Rashad Bateman out rest of season. And we have Travis Kelsey, so we can get that stack. I'm completely fine with that, my friend. But Return to Reason coming out says 8 team in a non-PPR format, projected loss versus the number 1 team. Burrow, Jefferson, Waddle, Etienne, Kelsey. Please stop with the running back 2/flex. Options are Jamal, Deion Jackson, Godwin, Joshua Palmer. Thanks. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. And I will say, Deion Jackson looks very appealing this week. If we have no Jonathan Taylor, who missed practice yet again, even if it's a tough matchup, Deion Jackson's going to be someone that has a massive role as a pass catcher based on what we saw the last time you had no Niemeyns and no Jonathan Taylor. So I'd make the argument that you would have to go Deion Jackson over Jamal Williams if Jonathan Taylor were to miss. Now, if we were going to be looking at the flex spot, I'm probably going to go ahead and go Chris Godwin regardless. I know that Joshua Palmer's in a very good spot, possibly no Keenan, possibly no Mike Williams. And it's a good matchup against Atlanta, but Chris Godwin's Chris Godwin. I'm not going to be starting Palmer over him. Now, Robert says, should we start Olave or Godwin? If you're pulling my rankings, we are going to have these guys in a comparable range this week. Let me pull up exactly where we have them. I mean, I want to get Chris Godwin in as many lineups as we've talked about. We have these two guys ranked back-to-back. Literally have them at 12 and 13. I'll say now that we have Michael Thomas for sure not playing, let's go ahead and let's go Chris Olave. Now our next question coming out from C-Mello says, trade Josh Allen and Kenneth Walker for Lamar Jackson and Dameon Pierce. No, I mean, with the injury to Bateman and the injury to Mark Andrews, I think you easily prefer Allen and Walker. Now, Bag 40 says, who started Goddard and Sanders both? I'm assuming that you did, my friend. If you did, congrats. I mean, obviously, starting off the week right. And you should start off your Thursday night right by going down there and dropping a like on the live stream. We are 1 like away from hitting 200 likes in the stream. I can tell about 25% of y'all have hit that like button. Let's make that 100%. Well, what are we doing here, ladies and gentlemen? And Basim says trade Kenneth Walker, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Jamar Chase for Joe Mixon and Jalen Waddle. I would say it's going to be almost entirely dependent on the record of your team. And if we need to be primarily focusing on the upside that Jamar Chase has later in the year versus the points Jalen Waddle is going to give you for your starting lineup today. And Holo Brown coming out says, should we trade Judy and Gibson for Jonathan Taylor? Hell to the yes. Hell yes. WB says, should we consider dropping Singletary or Gus for Nyheim Hines? Full PPR format, I mean, I'd be fine if you wanted to make the move. In reality, I think that they're all going to be relatively close, and you can't go wrong with either. It's just going to be up to you. Sean says, my wife left me when Breece Hall got injured. However, we have 4 receivers, Hollywood, Juju, Jefferson, and Olave. My running back 1 is Etienne. Who should I target and package for another running back in a 10-team PPR format? I am so sorry to hear this, my friend. And I have a very similar story. I didn't want to say this on the channel because obviously this gets a little personal. I try to keep it strictly business. Try to keep it strictly to fantasy football. When Breece Hall was injured, my girlfriend got on that same bus that your wife was on, leaving you. She left me, told me I was never going to amount to anything with Breece Hall going down on pretty much every single team that I had, telling me I was a fraud. It was an ugly sight. I'm kind of pissed you brought this up, but regardless, our 4 receivers with Hollywood, Juju, Jefferson, and Olave, honestly, not going to be getting too much for any of these guys right now. Maybe if you wanted to go through and try to package together Juju Smith-Schuster and a running back too, if you have someone like Antonio Gibson, and go out there and get a running back that people are panicking on. We just saw someone go through and trade Judy and Antonio Gibson for Jonathan Taylor. If we can make a similar deal for JT, if we could maybe make a deal instead for DeAndre Swift, that could be interesting. But the issue is not only did we have Breece Hall going down, but at the same time, Hollywood going down does play a big role here in terms of the value we have on this team. Now, Shady says, Amon-Ra St. Brown this week or start Raheem Mostert. Oh, you got to go Amon-Ra St. Brown. Leo says, trading Hunt for Amari Cooper, good idea rest of season. Hell yes. Now the Kareem Hunt's not getting dealt. Go Amari. Ray says, traded DJ Moore for Keenan Allen. How do we do in a PPR format? I want to tell you great, but I've also said all season now that Keenan Allen is going to be coming back soon, that you're about to get Keenan Allen back. And it never happens. So I want to tell you great, my friend, but in reality, I don't think my opinion with Keenan Allen means much, is worth anything, because I've been wrong for a long time now. But real quick, we have a couple massive donuts. Let me skip out of these. And also, we're 1 like away from hitting 300 likes in the stream. Please, if you have not done so already, go down there, be our 300th like of the live stream. We're only 10 minutes into the stream. Thank y'all so much. And Justin says, in a 10-team PPR format, we have Brady, Walker, Pierce, AJ Waddle, Higbee, Rondale, Carter, and Najee, with Debo and Mike Williams injured. Do we trade Walker for Jamar Chase and Khalil Herbert? It's a 6-2 record. I mean, I don't want to worry too much about the Debo Samuel injury. I'm not a massive fan of Debo, but I'll say, hell, he's on the bye week. You're 6-2. We're thinking long-term here. I don't think the Debo Samuel injury plays too much into effect. Now, if we are looking at trading Kenneth Walker for Jamar Chase and Khalil Herbert, specifically because this is a roster where we are sitting at 6-2 and we have enough running back production at running back to get by, yes, let's do it. If you were 2-6, if you were 3-5, if you were, honestly, maybe even 4-4, be a little bit more hesitant to trade for Jamar. But if you're sitting at 6-2, even if we lose the next few weeks, say you lose the next 2 weeks, we get Jamar Chase back in 3. Hell, all of a sudden, what, we're 6-4? And we just added Jamar Chase to our team. So let's pull the trigger. Now, Patrick says, I had Goddard and Devonta Smith tonight. So we had the good and the bad. Goddard balled out, but Smith only got 4 points. What should I expect out of Smith going forward? Thanks, Mason. Hope you're having a great night. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. And we said this, I think in the wide receiver ranking video this week, that you're, at least in my opinion, I think that Devonta Smith as well as Gabriel Davis are two very comparable wide receivers. These are two players playing in truly elite level offenses that we should be very excited about. However, they are both playing alongside alpha true wide receiver ones that are just going to be soaking up a crap ton of targets, where it's going to be very difficult to assume that Devonta Smith or Gabriel Davis have decent floors on a week-to-week basis. That played out this week where Devonta Smith crashed and burned. Obviously, you're going to see some massive spikes given the fact that this Philadelphia Eagles offense can put points up at will. What you want is you want them going up in competitive games where they're going to be forced to throw the ball in the second half. Because the difference between the Eagles and the Bills is whenever you do have the Eagles with the lead in the second half, they're willing to run it, where the Bills are going to throw it regardless. Now, IZ says, do we have any tips on a 5-3 10-team at PBR format where we have Jimmy G, Jamal Williams, CMC, Keenan, Rondale, Andrews, Melvin Gordon, and then on the bench, we have Gus, Jacoby, Mariota, Mike Williams, Greg Dulcich, and on the IR, we have Hollywood Brown, rest in peace, Breece Hall. Honestly, I would say I'm not going to have too many moves outside of maybe potentially trying to trade for Justin Herbert. I think if we get a buy low opportunity on Justin Herbert at any point, it's probably going to come over the next few weeks because, hell, he has Mike Williams injured. He has Keenan Allen, I guess, still injured, as gross as that sounds to say. Oh my gosh, I don't want to say it, but it looks like the reality that we're living in. So if you're in a spot where you have both his top options down, where he's literally just going to be able to go to Austin Eckler, Joshua Palmer, and Gerald Everett, I think that you have probably a step back from Herbert, probably a buy low opportunity, and specifically on this roster in a few weeks, I would really like to go and take advantage if we could try to trade Jimmy Garoppolo and Mariota and then throw in a wide receiver that you like Hollywood if he's coming back. I don't know, just any wide receiver. The point is getting Herbert at a discount would make a lot of sense on a roster where you're already pot committed to the Los Angeles Chargers offense. You already have Williams. You already have Herbert. If this team's going to be good in the long term, the Chargers and Justin Herbert, you already have Williams and Keenan. The Chargers and Justin Herbert would have to have a top 5 passing offense this season. Now, next one coming out from, I believe, Jared. Thank you so much, my friend. Says, high stakes $1,000 league. Dear God. 10-team at PBR format, double flex. We have Kyler, Eckler, Walker, Fournette, Sanders, Robinson, Deion Jackson. So we have a crap ton of running backs. Receivers, we have Waddle, Amari, Deontay, Garrett Wilson. Tight end, we have Kittle, Waller. We got offered Kenneth Walker, Leonard Fournette, and Waddle for Diggs and Saquon Barkley. I'll say hell no. I'd say no, you can't do this. If you are looking at this roster, my friend, you already have so much running back depth. You have Eckler, Walker, Fournette, Sanders, Robinson, Deion Jackson. I think those 4 and 5 guys, maybe you get a start out of one of them occasionally. You already have so much depth at running back that the last thing I think we need to be doing is trading away our true top end studs just to bring in more depth. No, Stephon Diggs, the wide receiver one in fantasy, arguably. Barkley, arguably a top 3 running back. Arguably the running back one overall. I think you keep the 2 best players if you were maybe in like a 12-team league where it was a difficult spot because we had the Breece Hall injury, yada, yada, yada. We had injuries across the team, then sure, maybe we could visit this. I also am a little bit worried about the Rachaad White trend in usage if we are looking at Leonard Fournette going forward. Okay. But Jordan coming out with the donation, as always. Thank you, my friend. Says 3 and 5 in a PBR format. Before the game, we traded Pierce, Pitts, Gabe Davis for Devontae Adams and Zach Ertz. The team now is Kyler, Saquon, Lenny, Dylan, Drake, Jefferson, Adams, Keenan, Rondell, Judy, Garrett Wilson, Titans, Zach Ertz, Greg Dulcich on bye. Need a running back 2 this week, though currently on A.J. Dillon. I'd say A.J. Dillon's not going to be the worst running back 2 in the world this week. Obviously, you have Saquon Barkley on bye. A.J. Dillon going up against the Detroit Lions, so I actually think you can start Dillon, even if you're not that excited about it. And then if we are going to be looking at maybe making a separate move, I don't really see one. We are already betting in on that Arizona Cardinals offense with Hollywood, with Zach Ertz, with Kyler Murray, but wanting to keep this core here. We have Rondell Moore as well. If we could flip, if Jonathan Taylor misses this week, we could start Lenny this week and then maybe flip Leonard Fournette for Jonathan Taylor. I personally would be interested in that. Like I said, I am pretty damn worried about the usage when it comes to Rachaad White here in Tampa. On top of this, if we are going to be looking at JT, I think he has a higher ceiling in general with Hines leaving. I'm having a hard time coming up with any deals. I like the construction of the roster. Obviously, it would be nice if we had some more value, but with the value that we have, I think it's constructed in the right way. And we're really just sitting here and wait until we get Saquon Barkley back from the bye. But really quick, we just hit 400 likes in the live stream in less than 20 minutes. Thank you so much for everybody going down there, dropping a like on the stream. If you have not done so yet, please fix your life and hit that like button. Now, our last massive dono we have to get to before we go back to going in order from Scott says, in a 12-team redraft format, happy BR, we have 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 flexes, 6 and 2 with Hurts, CMC, Saquon, ETN, Kamara, oh my gosh, Kelsey. So we can only play 4 running backs or 3 with Travis Kelsey. Which should we trade for a wide receiver 1 and who should we target? Also have Deontay Foreman. Deontay Foreman's the guy we're trading. I think the move is you package together Deontay Foreman as well as whatever wide receiver you're currently rolling with, whether that's Jerry Jeudy, whether that's DeAndre. It doesn't matter. Deontay Foreman on a roster that has CMC, Saquon Barkley, ETN, and Alvin Kamara is being completely wasted. We can find some respectable value for him is if we go ahead and use him in that 2-for-1 deal with another wide receiver on our roster to go get a stud wide receiver that way. I would definitely prefer that than trading one of our stud elite level running backs 1-for-1 for a stud receiver. I'm going to be more hesitant to trade away Alvin Kamara now that Michael Thomas is out for the season. Now that you have Jameis straight up benched and Thomas out for the season, I think you're in a very good spot for Kamara. Now, let's go back to where we were. This one coming out from, I believe, Kevin Effect says, salute champ at the flex. Happy BR format. Are we going to roll with Godwin, Jamal, or Deion Jackson if he's the starter? Last time Deion Jackson was the starter, I was the idiot who told people, do not start Deion Jackson. He looks like a trap. And Deion Jackson then decided to go out and catch, like 10 footballs? The man was heavily involved as a pass catcher. Not a great matchup against New England, but I would probably go with him. And if Deion Jackson's not the starter, go Chris Godwin. Now, Jim Elias says, start 2. We have Herbert, Drake, London, Zay Jones. I think we probably have to go with the combo of Herbert and Drake London. I mean, the passing volume in Jacksonville is just so much lower than it was at the beginning portion of the year. Obviously, Atlanta doesn't have a lot of passing volume either, but the difference between London and Zay Jones is one of them is extremely talented, the other is not. And on top of this, one of them is the top target in their offense with not a lot of passing volume, where the other guy is a little bit down the totem pole. Ant says, should we package Kirk and Claypool to get a better receiver? Hell yes. We have Tyreek, Olave, Kirk, Claypool, Terrace Marshall, and Jameson on the IR. I personally would, if I'm going to be looking at Chase Claypool. I know that some people are very excited about him. I think the Chicago Bears probably have the best fan base in the NFL. I truly do. Because anything that happens in Chicago, everybody gets so excited, and I repeat, so excited. On top of this, if you ever say anything negative about Justin Fields, they're coming for your head. It's like the Simpsons movie when they're all marching to the house with the pitchforks on fire. I mean, that's me whenever I say anything negative about Justin Fields. But Justin Fields, so far in his NFL career, has 5 games with over 200 passing yards. The passing volume's not there. I don't know if it's ever going to be there. Hell yes, if we can go get someone like Godwin, I think it makes a lot of sense. Logan coming out says start Burrow or Tua. We're going to go Tua with Jamar Chase being out. Also traded Ramondre and Olave for Devontae Adams. What are your thoughts? We have Eckler, Mostert, Patterson, Jefferson, Hopkins, Pitts, Adams, Keenan, and Palmer. I think it is close. However, I would say now that we have Michael Thomas ruled out for the season, I am probably going to be saying no. Can I ask everyone in the live chat here on this one? Please, we have over 1,000 people out here on the live stream. Everybody go to the chat. Let's get 1,000 messages. Would you rather have the package of Olave and Ramondre or Devontae Adams? Olave and Ramondre or Devontae Adams? Please let me know. Okay. Now, WB says, who should we throw at the flex between Dobbs, Herbert, or Garrett Wilson? I'm going to go Romeo Dobbs. Yeah, well, let's go Romeo Dobbs regardless. I don't want to put a caveat on it. Andrew says, yo, Mason, in a 10-team full PPR format, we're 4-4. We were offered Amon-Ra St. Brown and James Conner for Ramondre Stevenson and Leonard Fournette. We would still have Mixon, Pierce, and Travis Etienne. Fournette to Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's going to be a slight upgrade for me. Ramondre to James Conner is going to be a downgrade. I would say that, honestly, with Ramondre Stevenson, his value is so damn high right now that if you're trading him away, I think we need a little bit more. Okay. So looking at the chat, everybody is saying Olave and Ramondre. Yeah, that's what I assumed. I mean, there's just so much value with Ramondre Stevenson right now, where people are viewing him as that top 10 running back. We have some people saying Devontae Adams in the live chat, but you can just get so much value for Ramondre Stevenson that if you're selling him, you better be charging a premium. Yoda says, traded Gabe Davis and Melvin Gordon for Jonathan Taylor. How did we do? Love it. Love it. Phenomenal. Okay. Super Beast says, hey, Mason, just wanted to say thanks for the help. Second year watching you. Helped me out a ton. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. I hope that, I hope the videos do help out. I do. I truly do. Thank you so much. Floodgate says, would you trade Lockett and Deontay for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Pittman? Probably not. I think we can squeeze a little bit more value out of Deontay Foreman at this point. Emmanuel coming out says, I have Kamara, Fournette, Jefferson, Diggs, and Pierce as my starters in a shallow 8-team league. A trade ask for Pollard and Jefferson in exchange for Jacobs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. What do you think? I think that Jefferson's going to be the best player in the deal. If this was a 12-team format, I think we could really sit here and think about this. But specifically in an 8-team league, when you have this obnoxious starting lineup, what do we know about 8-team leagues? Depth is going to be the easiest thing you could ever find. You're never going to have a hard time finding a player off the waiver wire. You always go with the best guy. I think we just keep Justin Jefferson here. Maybe if it was a 12-team format, we change our mind. 8-team league, go Jefferson. Really quick, we are 1 like away from hitting 500 likes in the stream. Looks like half of y'all have gone down there and dropped a like on the live stream now. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much. And next question coming out from Luke says, full BBR. Quarterback, we have Geno. Receivers, we have Higgins, Pittman, Evans. Running backs, we have Pierce, Eckler. Tight end, we have Taysom or T.J. Hawkinson. Flex, Ramadre. Bench is Dak, Devonta Smith, David Montgomery, Mike Williams, and Khalil Herbert. What can we trade or change? Quick side note. I mean, long-term, I think Dak Prescott's the starting quarterback. Please don't think that you're going to be relying on Geno rest of season. I would have told you to trade away Taysom Hill before Michael Thomas ruled out rest of season. Now I think we are probably just wrong with it. I mean, I think that if we were looking to do anything, it's a full BBR league. Khalil Herbert, I believe, has 7 targets so far this year. The man's coming off a game where he had 16 carries. He's averaging over 6 yards per carry. He's 6th in the NFL currently in rushing yards. Khalil Herbert has been great, but at the same time, he's a 50-50 running back for the Chicago Bears, and he doesn't catch passes. He's been phenomenal, 100%. He looks great. Like, if you put Khalil Herbert on the Kansas City Chiefs, arguably he's a top 12 running back. But that's not the situation we're living in. And because that's not the reality we're in, if he's a 50-50 back on the Kansas City Chiefs, on the Chicago Bears when he's not catching passes, I'm going to be going through, I'm going to be trying to include him in a package with someone else to get an upgrade. Like, if we could go and maybe move T.J. Hawkinson and Khalil Herbert, or Taysom Hill and Khalil Herbert, and go get an elite level tight end, go get a banged up Andrews, I think that could be interesting. Now, Alexander says, in a Dynasty at BBR format, 6-2, we have Fields, Watson, Stafford, Chubb, Jones, Mostert, Dillon, Jeff Wilson Jr., Elijah Mitchell, Kupp, Sutton, London, Bateman, Burks, Boyd, Ridley, Kittle, Schultz, Tunyon. Trade ideas, all love, Mason. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. 6-2, obviously, we are looking at winning right this second. The only thing that I would say is, I know we're selling at a discount. Trust me, I know. But I would still be looking to trade Courtland Sutton in Dynasty. I know over the past 3 weeks, he's lost a tremendous amount of value. Let me pull up Keep Trade Cut and let you know what wide receivers I'd rather have over Courtland Sutton. The thing with Courtland Sutton in Dynasty is he's too old to be an option on a rebuilding team. He's too bad to be an option on a true contender. If we're looking at where Sutton's valued, like Sutton right now in Dynasty's valued back-to-back with A.J. Dillon. You have Dillon on this roster, but that's just an example of a player that I'd easily rather have. He's valued a few slots behind Pat Freiermuth. Give me Freiermuth. Hell, he's valued ahead of Leonard Fournette, Juju Smith-Schuster. A couple options I think could help a little bit more this year. Like, I think you maybe have to take Courtland Sutton over Juju this season. And if that's the case and Juju's younger, probably have to go that way in Dynasty as well. But let me skip ahead real quick. We have some massive donos coming out, and then we'll go right back to where we were. This one coming out from Patrick again. Thank you, says, my only running backs are Stevenson and Carter, and they're both on bye next week. So who should we try to get? The team is Stevenson, Carter, Goddard, Kittle, Lazard, Ayuk, Smith, Keenan, Myers, Cousins, Dalton, Mariota. Would you do Kurt for Mostert? Hell yes. If you're telling me we can trade Kirk Cousins for Raheem Mostert, I think that's the perfect deal if we don't have running backs here. Because the thing is, I was going to go through and tell you, let's drop a couple of these quarterbacks. Like, there's no reason for you to roster 3 quarterbacks on your team. I think you drop Dalton. But if you wanted to go through, if you wanted to roll with Dalton, which I wouldn't recommend, and Mariota and play it by matchup, then sure. I think you have to drop at least one of these guys or get one of these quarterbacks off your roster and go pick up a running back off the waiver wire. But instead of looking at the waiver wire, if we're able to get Raheem Mostert coming back, I actually do like that. I don't think Jeff Wilson's the starting running back here. I could easily be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. And you know that, my friend. You know that. Thank you so much for being out with us every single day. Quick side note, your profile pic in high school was by far and away my favorite album or mixtape, whatever it is. Now, it's Hunter coming out with the donation. Thank you. Says, hey, we got offered Andrews for Dalvin Cook and Hawkinson. What are you thinking? By the way, we don't start Dalvin Cook. Okay. I think it is a fine trade. I don't mind in redraft going through and selling TJ Hawkinson, in that I think, while yes, maybe this is a good long-term fit for TJ Hawkinson, at the same time, I think tight ends are going to have a difficult transition when they change teams halfway through the season. So I'm not going to mind if you wanted to go ahead and make a play here where you decide, you know what, let's get rid of Hawkinson. Let's go get an upgrade at tight end. However, I would not rush to go make this deal with Andrews right now. Because if we are looking at this, I mean, Mark Andrews probably missing this week. At the same time, he's on bye next week. So I feel like there's no reason to trade for him. His value is going absolutely nowhere. I'm okay with it. I just think that you could potentially get a better value if we wait 2 weeks. And it's not going to hurt at all either. You can start TJ Hawkinson until the 2 weeks are up and then maybe make the same deal. But Derek coming out, thank you as always, my friend. And we're smart enough to actually be able to read your name now. It was embarrassing for the longest time earlier this year. Says Mahomes, Henry, Dalvin, Evans, Smith, Everett, JT. And then on the bench, we have Zeke, Judy, Lamb, Smith, Schultz, Debo. 4 and 4. We tried trading for Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I couldn't get. What other receivers can we target? And should we be worried about JT? Any trade ideas? Yes, you should be worried about Jonathan Taylor. But at the same time, we have trades in this live chat literally about 10 minutes ago. People trading away Jerry Jeudy and Antonio Gibson for Jonathan Taylor. So me telling you to worry about JT is not helpful at all. Everybody's panicking with Jonathan Taylor. I think you have to hold him on your roster, send up a prayer that things work out. And if we're looking at making any potential moves, I really like this team. I know we have said a couple times now to play CeeDee Lamb. I don't know why CeeDee Lamb's still on our bench here, but oh my gosh, I'm trying to come up with something. If we could trade Debo Samuel and maybe, you're not going to get AJ Brown. Maybe we can get T. Higgins for Debo. If you wanted to add a small piece like Gerald Everett after this week, I wouldn't mind that either. But if we could go get T. Higgins, I honestly would rather have T. Higgins even when Jamar Chase is playing. Because if we are looking at Debo Samuel, I know you're tired of hearing me say this by now, but I think you have to dramatically lower your expectations compared to where he has been over the past 2 seasons now. Christian McCaffrey coming over is just very, very similar. The average depth of target is incredibly low for Debo, where they're both just exclusively used around the line of scrimmage. So if we could go ahead and move Debo for T. Higgins, I would really like that. I would settle for Chris Godwin. I know we already tried Amon-Ra St. Brown, so maybe we go Higgins, and if that doesn't work out, we go Godwin. But James coming out, thank you, my friend, says, in a redraft 1 quarterback PPR format, we have, actually, before I read the rest of this, we're 1 like away from hitting 100 likes in the live stream. Looks like over half of y'all have gone down there and dropped a like on the stream. Thank you so much for all the support. And if you have not done so already, what are you waiting for? Fix your life. Go down there, drop that like. Okay. With this question coming out from James, we have Hurts, Walker, ETN, Pierce, Herbert, Drake, Kyron, St. Brown, Kirk, Pickens, Judy, Tony, Pitts, and Njoku. Don't care about kicker defense. Currently 5-3. Should we look to make any moves or hold steady? So we have the elite level quarterback with Jalen Hurts. And what I really like to see with this is not only do we have the elite level quarterback with Hurts, but at the same time, we are optimizing him in our roster construction. We are deciding not to go through and, for whatever reason, some people think that they should be rostering a backup quarterback. No, you have it perfect. We have no backup quarterback here. We're rolling with just Jalen Hurts. That's allowing us to pick up a bunch of high upside running backs down there on the bench. I would say specifically in a full PPR format, if you could be in a position where we package together Khalil Herbert and maybe a receiver, whether that's Kirk, Pickens, Judy, Tony, whichever guy that you would be first to move, and go get a better receiver, like maybe go package Khalil Herbert and Jerry Jeudy and go get T. Higgins. I think that would be very exciting because if we are going to be fair here with Khalil Herbert, he looks great. He has a lot of value, but at the same time, I don't know how long it lasts. I mean, that's a bad way to put it. I think his value is going to stick around, but I don't know what the real ceiling is outside of a David Montgomery injury for a running back in a bad offense that is not going to catch passes and is still playing in a 50-50 backfield. He's been one of the most efficient running backs in the NFL. He's literally 6th in the NFL in rushing yards. Khalil Herbert's been phenomenal. For that reason, you're going to get a lot of value for him, and I would cash out at this point. Let's go back to where we were. Luke says, we have Fields, Ramondre for Burrow and Najee. Hurts is my quarterback 1. Hurts is your quarterback 1. Quarterback simply doesn't matter. You would obviously rather have Ramondre over Najee Harris at this point. I'd be fine with it. I mean, if you can't get any more value for Burrow. JN says, Devin Mother effing Duvernay. Yes, sir. I mean, I don't know if you watched our live stream earlier today with Bateman being ruled out for the year, but we had to go through. We had to say Devin Duvernay looks like someone you could start at the flex rest of season. Keith says, should we trade away JT and T. Higgins for A.J. Brown and David Montgomery? I would argue no. Full BBR 10-team league. We picked up Deion Jackson. JT is very scary, but you got to roll with the pain. You got to roll with the punches. Selling at this price is just a guaranteed loss, a guaranteed massive loss. Houseways says, I traded Devonta Smith for Keenan Allen. With the recent news of Keenan, did I screw up? My receivers are Myers, Scary Terry, Rondell Moore. Thanks, Mace. I want to say no. I want to say that if Keenan Allen plays, if Keenan Allen's fully healthy, if we have Mike Williams banged up with a high ankle sprain, then you have Keenan Allen as a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 in fantasy. But at the same time, I don't know how much you can trust me. I went through and told everybody for a month now that Keenan Allen was about to return, and it looks like that may not even be the case now. I don't know. It's difficult, my friend. Paul says, use code FLOCK, no Derrick Henry, though. Okay, so with the Derrick Henry line, I know you're very tired of hearing me talk about this. But of course, if you signed up for Underdog Fantasy, link in the live chat, you can check out all these player props. And only with promo code FLOCK are you going to get access to this special Derrick Henry line. So when you sign up with promo code FLOCK and make that first deposit, you'll notice right that second, bam, you have that deposit bonus matched. I mean, whatever it is, you deposited $10 right that second, you have $20 in your account, promo code FLOCK. But because this is only for people who use promo code FLOCK, they have to go through and run this in the back end. So tomorrow on Friday, they're going to go through and run this for everybody who's used promo code FLOCK, where you will then see this available in your app on Friday. They will send out a notification when it's available for everybody. But like I said, you're not going to see this unless you use code FLOCK. But I apologize for maybe the confusion if you thought it was going to be available right now. They just have to run it in the back end because it's only for the FLOCK users. So it will be there tomorrow, my friend. Now, our next question coming out from Jose says, hey, Mason, love the stream. We have Mahomes, Henry, Etienne, T. Higgins, CeeDee Lamb, Joshua Palmer, Zach Ertz at tight end. We're 4-4 in a 10-team full PPR format. Any advice? If we were looking to do anything, I think we sit on our hands. Don't see as clear sell high player at running back, at receiver, or at quarterback. I would have told you to sell Zach Ertz earlier on the season before we had DeAndre Hopkins coming in because I was worried about the volume that DeAndre Hopkins was going to get and how that was going to negatively impact Zach Ertz. But Ollie Brown going down, he's just fine. Chris says, who should we put in the flex this week in a full PPR format? Boyd, Foreman, Joshua Palmer, Deion Jackson. Love the show. You the best, man. No, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Full PPR format. If Jonathan Taylor misses with knee binds in Buffalo, you go Deion Jackson. If Jonathan Taylor plays, I think we're going to have to go ahead and we're going to have to go with your call of Deontay Foreman or Joshua Palmer if we have no Mike Williams and no Keenan Allen. If Keenan Allen does play, your call between Deontay Foreman and Tyler Boyd. Deontay Foreman's hard to project this week, just given the fact that we may have Hubbard. Who knows what his role is going to be like. It's hard to project Deontay Foreman when it's just been a different backfield over the past few weeks. But Lightning coming out says, London or Alec Pierce this week? Happy BR, thanks. I think both offenses are bad. I think London's the better player. London's the top option. Let's go London. Driz says, what's up, mate? So Kittle's on bye this week. Should we roll with Knox, Conklin, Juwan Johnson, or take a chance on Isaiah Likely Monday night? I would say out of those first three guys, Dawson Knox is the most touchdown upside. Tyler Conklin does have a high floor with Elijah Moore getting benched. Going to be going with one of those two guys, but in reality, Isaiah Likely has a significantly higher ceiling. So what I would probably look to do is plan on Isaiah Likely, because what's nice is if Mark Andrews does end up playing, then we pivot over to Juwan Johnson. They're playing in that same game. They're both playing on Monday night. So roll the dice on Isaiah Likely. If he's not good to go, then fine. I'm sorry. If Andrews plays, then fine. We'll play Juwan Johnson. Now, Logan says, I'm giving up Garrett Wilson, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Gus Edwards for DK Metcalf. Is it too much? Nope. I'd be getting DK, the situation, giving up those three. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. I mean, Gus Edwards is a player that I think has a severely capped ceiling. I repeat, a severely capped ceiling, and that is in a 3-man running back by committee. And he doesn't catch passes. I'm not a Gus Edwards fan. Now, real quick, we are 1 like away from hitting 700 likes on the stream. I'm going to go turn this fan on, and as I do, I'm going to be screaming at you to drop a like on this. Drop a like on the live stream. If you have not liked the stream, hit that like button. Here, I am such a nice guy that I'm going to show you exactly how to do this as well. Let's go pull this bad boy up so we can be the 700th like on the stream. We're going to go ahead and grab this bad boy. Bada boom, bada bang. Let's go pull this bad boy up so we can... Drop that like right there. Hit that little thumbs up button. Now, Stefan says, Connor, Kamara, Patterson, Godwin are our running backs. In need of RB, what can we realistically get for Deontay Johnson? If you wanted to go through and back together like Deontay Johnson and Melvin Gordon, there are two guys that people are pure panicking over right now. I know it sounds crazy. I mean, maybe you go Deontay Johnson and Cordell Patterson and gets it done. Deontay Johnson and James Conner. Swift and JT, people are panicking on. Obviously, these are two running backs that are little nerve-wracking, and I am right there with you. I know it sounds crazy. Oh, I will never get Jonathan Taylor for that. Literally, we've seen maybe 10 trades so far this live stream, essentially at that price point. So I think that would be interesting if you were looking for a different running back and you wanted to go Deontay Johnson and Melvin Gordon as that package. I mean, Miles Sanders is the guy we were saying before tonight. I don't know if we can get Miles Sanders anymore, though, because obviously played on Thursday and looked pretty damn good. Now, Felipe has traded Gibson, CD for Dallas Goedert, DJ Moore, and Ezekiel Elliott. If you needed a tight end, great move. I think going CD Lamb to DJ Moore is a pretty big downgrade, though. Actually, I'm fine with it. I'm good with it. Dallas Goedert looks phenomenal. Joey coming out with a massive dono. Let me skip ahead of this. We'll go right back to where we were. Thank you, my friend. 6-2 in a happy BR format, 10-team league. We have Hurts, Mariota, Eckler, Barkley, Montgomery, Gordon. Receiver, we have Waddle, Lamb, Evans, Olave, Metcalf, Cooks. Tight end, we have Freiermuth and Dawson Knox. We are offered Jefferson and Tyler Algier for Jalen Waddle and David Montgomery. Jalen Waddle, I mean, is one of my favorite players in the NFL. He's my most drafted wide receiver this year. I tweeted out that I'm going to name my firstborn Jalen after him going through and winning us a lot of money so far this season. But at the same time, Justin Jefferson is in a different class of player than Jalen Waddle. Justin Jefferson is significantly better. David Montgomery looks like it's going to be a hard player to start with the expanded role for Khalil Herbert right now. So yes, I would go ahead. I'd pivot over from Montgomery and Jefferson. I'm sorry, Montgomery and Waddle for Jefferson. I don't care about Tyler Algier. But our next question coming out from Batman Gaming. Long-time member of the vlog, always out here. Thank you, my friend. Says, in a 12-team app BBR format, would you trade Stevenson and Davis for Foreman and DK Metcalf? I would say no. Hell no. Should I ask for Wan'Dale as well or not do the deal? Don't do the deal. Nope. I mean, going from Stevenson to Foreman is going to be a massive downgrade in my opinion. Going from Davis to Metcalf, maybe you prefer Metcalf slightly. I think they're in a similar tier. I think obviously Gabriel Davis has a much lower floor, but given the offense he's playing in, I think he has a decent little ceiling here. But no, please keep Ramondre Stevenson. I am worried about Deontay Foreman. Now, Caden says, in a 12-team app BBR format where we're 6-2, we traded Hopkins, Brian Robinson, and Romeo Doubs for Tyreek Hill. Is this a W? Team is Mahomes, Walker, Etienne, Herbert, Chuba, Jeff Wilson. We lost Brees. We also have Kupp, Tyreek, Godwin, Garrett Wilson, London, Burks, Tony, and Kelsey. Specifically because Brian Robinson and Romeo Doubs look like they would never start for you. I'm fine going and getting Tyreek Hill. You know, DeAndre Hopkins is my guy, but it's hard not to look at Tyreek Hill and say, okay, well, this is a wide receiver that currently is number 1 in the NFL in receiving yards. Numero uno. In receiving yards and receptions. Now, our next question coming out from Hayden says, when 12-team 4-4 record, Kyler, Lenny, Jefferson, Hopkins, Hurst, Boyd, Kirk, Taysom. Should I trade Kamara and Kirk for Jonathan Taylor and Mike Evans? I think that if we would have had maybe Michael Thomas coming back, Jameis Winston coming back, then yes. But looking at how damn cheap Jonathan Taylor is right now, I would say no. If you're trading away Alvin Kamara for Jonathan Taylor, we need to be getting a bigger upgrade at wide receiver. Like maybe if we were trading away Kamara for JT and Evans and not including Kirk, then yes. But I mean, you need to be charging a premium if you were moving off of a very high floor, high ceiling running back in Kamara to someone with some serious red flags. Now, Bodie Lee says, yo, Mason, we're going to go Barkley for Etienne and Hopkins in a 4-4 league. I'd go Etienne and Hopkins over Barkley. I mean, Etienne looks like, I don't want to say he's going to outscore Barkley, but looks very exciting. AJB says, suffering at running back, we have Andrews, Freiermuth, that tight end. What running back should we target where we're giving up Andrews? If you could go through into full BBR, it is a full BBR format. If you wanted to trade Andrews for Swift, I'm not going to mind that. Obviously, Swift bad this past week, but I still think he has upside rest of season. And if we are looking at Mark Andrews, he's probably missing this week. Not only is he going to be missing this week, but at the same time, you're in a spot where he has a bye week the week following. So you're going to be missing Mark Andrews for 2 weeks now. If we really need a running back, I'd be fine going and getting DeAndre Swift. Now, our next question coming out from Adrian says, traded Tyler Boyd and Zach Ertz. For Zach Ertz and Hollywood Brown. Good trade. We had Kittle on bye. Also, should we hold JT for the playoffs for 7-1? Yes and yes. Yes and yes. I think long-term, Hollywood Brown is better than Tyler Boyd. We're 7-1 here as well. So, really, the only thing that matters is going to be that long-term upside on a 7-1 roster. And what also matters is you going down there and hitting that like button. We just hit 800 likes in the live stream. Looks like the majority of y'all have already hit that like button, so thank you so much. But fix your life if you have not done so. Matthew says, should we trade Kittle and Hopkins for T. Higgins, Kenneth Walker, and Kyle Pitts? No, maybe you would have asked me coming into the season, then yes. But Kyle Pitts looks like he's so much worse than Kittle at this point. Also giving up Hopkins is just too much. Now, Mr. Mojo Ryzen says, 10-team BBR format. Would you trade Swift, Ayuk in a 4th-round pick for Debo, Zeke in a 5th-round pick? I don't really care about the picks. We have CMC, Damian Pierce, Jamal, AJ Dillon, Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Jacoby Myers, Garrett Wilson. If you look at the range of outcomes between a 4th and a 5th-round pick, they're very, very comparable. Going from Swift to Zeke, massive downgrade. Going from Ayuk to Debo, downgrade. Please just keep Swift and Ayuk. And we're getting the worst pick. Yeah, no, 100%. Please keep Swift and Ayuk there. Hernan says, should I play Robert Tonyan or pick up Isaiah Likely? Should I get rid of JT? You cannot get rid of JT for a bag of potato chips. You got to hold them. And if we're looking at Isaiah Likely versus Robert Tonyan, if we were guaranteed to have no Mark Andrews, I think Isaiah Likely is the better play. You're going to have to monitor that situation going into Sunday, though. Now, Prince Law says, in a 12-team BBR format, Rager's 4-4. We have Jimmy G, Andy Dalton, DeAndre Swift, Etienne, Robinson, Chase, Waddle, Davis, Juju, Keenan, Ayuk, Goddard. We have 2 roster spots lost because of MT and Bateman. Love your work, brother. Keep it up. Thank you so much for supporting the live stream. And I know that if you enjoy the live streams, you already know what we usually look to do. What I usually look to do is look at that wide receiver that's coming off a good week. That's your wide receiver 2, 3, but you have a couple guys that look similar to him on your roster. Go, okay, well, this is an expendable asset for us. Let's make a 2-for-1 deal. Let's go get a better starter in the starting lineup, and then we can go through and backfill off the waiver wire. I think that's honestly the GTO trade in a shallow redraft format. However, if we lost both Thomas and Bateman, going to be a tougher spot for us to make that deal, especially if we have Keenan Allen currently injured. So I'm sorry, my friend. I would love to upgrade the quarterback position. However, if we currently have Keenan Allen injured and we just lost Thomas and Bateman for the rest of the season, I don't know. I mean, if we could go get Watson off the waiver wire, for the love of God, drop Andy Dalton, go pick up. Actually, I guess we have to start Dalton this week. But go pick up Deshaun Watson and then drop Andy Dalton once you get Jimmy G back from the bye. Just severely capped because of those wide receiver injuries. But Keller says we have Tua, Eckler, Dion, Evans, Amon-Ra, Ertz, Waddle, Williams, Hollywood, Dobbins, James Robinson, Conklin, Pickens, Lamb. Cowboys DST, is it worth selling Lamb or Evans with Pickens for a running back, or should we go ahead and stream the running back position? I mean, I would say this week you are fine with Deion Jackson if Jonathan Taylor were to miss. So I think it could potentially in the long term be worth it selling CeeDee Lamb or Mike Evans and going and getting a different running back. However, I do not think we have to do this right this second. We play Deion Jackson this week. You have Austin Eckler as the running back 1 overall as well. We still have an injured Mike Williams. We still have an injured Hollywood Brown. So let's hold on to these wide receivers for this week. Let's play Deion Jackson. Let's get these points, assuming JT misses. And then afterwards, let's hit the waiver wire and see if we have any intriguing players to go pick up. But now our next question, actually, real quick, let me skip ahead. We have a couple massive donos coming out. Let me answer these. We'll go right back to where we were. Kyle says, hey, Mason, in a Dynasty League 12-team app EBR in a complete rebuild, would you trade Godwin for Jameson in a late third, early third, late third? It's a third round pick. It's about the same. And also, what would you expect for DeAndre Swift? Rebuilding roster, if you wanted to trade away DeAndre Swift and get Breece Hall in like a second round pick, I think that would be fine. And regarding Godwin and Jameson Williams, what I can actually do is go ahead and pull up our Dynasty rankings. I already know who we have ranked higher. We just updated these today for everybody on locals. So let me go ahead and get this bad boy up here. Updated November 3rd. Wide receiver, I have Jameson Williams in Dynasty at wide receiver 20. I have Chris Godwin at wide receiver. Honestly, he should be higher than this. Let's move him to wide receiver 24. We have Chris Godwin at wide receiver 24 and Jameson Williams, wide receiver 20. So, I mean, I would rather have Jameson in Dynasty straight up over Godwin. Godwin was drafted in 2017. He's younger, though. I mean, he actually was drafted at 20 years old coming out of Penn State. But yeah, in a rebuilding roster, let's go get Jameson. I mean, he is an exciting prospect. I thought he had some serious red flags in his profile. I thought it was crazy. People are taking him and his injury over Chris freaking Olave. But yeah, no, at this price point, if you're a rebuilding roster, hell, let's make the swap. Now, our next question coming out from Chase. Thank you, my friend. This one says, 14-team app EBR format. We have Daniel Jones. Keep in mind, 14-team league. The bar is going to be a little bit lower. You're going to naturally assume that you have some worse players in the starting lineup. So Daniel Jones is going to be that starting QB. Then we have Eckler, Chubb, Waddle, Pittman, Conklin, Kamara, Renfro, Eno, Alec Pierce, Brady, Zay Jones. First place 6-2, 1,000 points for, most in the league. We were offered Jamar Chase for Jalen Waddle. Any other moves you make for the playoffs? First, let me address this trade. We've, for whatever reason, had this same exact question so many times this week. And every single time we answer it, I think it comes down to the roster and it comes down to the record of the team. If we are sitting in first place, you know I love me some Jalen Waddle. You know Jalen Waddle's my guy. But yes, I would go ahead. I would trade Jalen Waddle away if we could get in Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase does have that elite level ceiling in the long term. Jamar Chase avoided the IR. I think you maybe get him back in about 3 weeks here. And if we were looking at making any other moves for the playoffs, I would say, honestly, we're well capitalized, and there's not too many other trades that I'd look to make other than the Chase one, especially once we make the Chase deal. I mean, we can't be trading away any other current production. One quick side note, let's get Tom Brady in that starting lineup over Daniel Jones. I think Tom Brady should be in the starting lineup over Daniel Jones. Now, our next one coming out from Sleepy Owl says, good trade. We got Derrick Henry, Debo, and Curtis. We lost DK, Foreman, and ETN. We have Eckler, Stevenson, Tyreek Hill, and Happy BR format. So Happy BR format, we are upgrading from ETN to Derrick Henry. We are slight upgrading / lateral move from DK Metcalf to Debo Samuel. Donta Foreman to Curtis Samuel. I don't really care too much about it. Yes, let's go get Derrick Henry and Debo. Maybe if it was a full PBR league where the gap between ETN and Derrick Henry is just a little bit closer, then we can sit here and think about it a little bit more. But no, in that Happy BR format, get Derrick Henry. The playoff schedule is ridiculous. And he says, drop Rashad White or Alexander Madison for Michael Carter. Up to you. I think it's completely fine one way or another. I try to think about it in terms of a range of outcomes if we're not going to be starting any of these guys, and ask yourselves, where can their value realistically go if they're at the bottom end of our bench? What can change this week? If James Robinson gets injured, where do you have Michael Carter? If Dalvin Cook gets injured, where do you have Alexander Madison? If Leonard Fournette gets injured, where do you have Rashad White? If it's the last spot on our roster, I think we need to be just thinking about best case scenario. Unless you're having to pick someone up for this week, then obviously it's a different situation. Now, Julian says, in a Happy BR format, should we flex Boyd, Lazard, or Pittman? I think you have to go Pittman. I mean, you know I'm not a big Pittman guy, but it is what it is. Cam says, full PBR 10-team league. We have Herbert, Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, Diggs, McLaurin, Evan Ingram, and Juju. On the bench, we have Connor, Gabe Davis, Zeke, and Kittle. Picked up Jackson off the waiver wire for Jonathan Taylor. Who should we be looking to start? If Jonathan Taylor were to miss this week, please play Jonathan Taylor over Khalil Herbert. And then also, if Jahan Dotson were to play this week, I would actually probably rather have Gabriel Davis over Terry McLaurin. Or Gabriel Davis over Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, go get Gabriel Davis in this lineup. I'm not even a big Davis guy. He was a clear sell-high player for us earlier in the season. But you just know he's going to have these random spike weeks because of the offense he's playing in. Now, Arden says trade Mixon and Mahomes for Henry and Prescott. Happy BR format. I'm going to ask everybody in the live chat this one. I mean, I think this is a perfect question for the live chat. So everybody in the chat, please, who would you rather have? Joe Mixon and Patrick Mahomes or Derrick Henry and Dak Prescott? Joe Mixon and Mahomes or Derrick Henry and Prescott? Now, S. Huss coming out says, in a 10-team BBR double flex league where we're 7-1, Hurts, Pierce, Cook, Lenny, St. Brown, Waddle, Keenan, Godwin, Olave, Ertz, Hawk, White, Tony, Dillon. Keep in mind the double flex spot. Would you give Lenny and Godwin for A.J. Brown? So obviously, double flex league, depth's going to matter a little bit more, but it's a 10-team league, so depth's going to matter a little bit less. I think, honestly, kind of just balances it out here. And if we're looking at Leonard Fournette and Chris Godwin for A.J. Brown, I would say no. I mean, I'm fine if we wanted to go through and trade away Leonard Fournette. However, I just think that we need to be getting a little bit more value in return. I think you can get a little bit more value in return if we're going to be honest here. Okay. So checking the chat, looks like most people are preferring Mixon and Mahomes. We have a couple people saying the Derrick Henry side, but almost everybody going Mixon and Mahomes. Now, next question coming out from Zach says, what running backs do we trade for? Trading away Swift and Debo in a package, Debo on the bench, Swift in the flex. We were thinking Derrick Henry. We have room to pay more. If you can go get Derrick Henry, my friend, I really like it, especially if it's a non-PBR or maybe a half PBR format. I mean, I think that you are probably going to be best trying to wait a week, however, to trade DeAndre Swift, because I will tell you, you're not getting much for DeAndre Swift right now. I don't think it's happening. Now, Cam says, also, got a trade offer. Diggs for Ramadre, Swift, Sutton for that team. Should we pull the trigger? Okay. You know I'm not a big Sutton guy. I think Sutton's not the best, but it is what it is. This is a 10-team league. It's a 10-team league with not a lot of depth. Specifically looking at your roster where we have I mean, Khalil Herbert currently slotted in to be a starting running back here. Even if I'm not a Sutton fan, I'd be fine trading Diggs for Swift, Ramondre, and Sutton for specifically that roster where depth is very much needed. Now, Edward coming out says, traded Mixon, Lamb, Davis for CMC and DK Metcalf. Oh my gosh, great deal. Stuff Walker, Swift, 4-minute running back. What? I love it. Looking at what we had from Christian McCaffrey this past week, it just pains me every single day, the fact that I was not drafting him at the 101. Now, Nep says JT and Godwin for Linney and St. Brown. We have Walker and Chubb. I would go with the Linney and St. Brown side. I would rather have Jonathan Taylor over Leonard Fournette, even if most people would disagree with us on that one. But I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is just so much better than Godwin. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is a locked and loaded top 10 receiver, and we could get more value in Leonard Fournette through trade than just Jonathan Taylor. But now Santos says, start 2, DK, Evans, Swift. We want to start Cook, Kamara, and Hopkins. Ooh. Okay, so I think that if we were looking at this, Evans, a must-start guy. DeAndre Swift against Green Bay. I mean, I think DeAndre Swift's going to be someone that we're starting over DK Metcalf in the long term. But if you wanted to wait a week just to kind of get DeAndre Swift fully worked up, because obviously this past week it was kind of disgusting, I wouldn't mind it. I'm going to ask the live chat again. Can everybody in the live chat please let me know? Who would you rather start? Would you rather start DeAndre Swift against the Packers or DK Metcalf against Arizona? Swift or Metcalf? Please, everybody in the chat, let me know Swift or Metcalf. Just spam it. We have 1,000 people out here. I expect to see 1,000 messages. And also, drop a like in the live stream. We are 1 like away from hitting 900 likes in the stream. It does help us out a ton. And Brandon says 10-team PPR format, 3 receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. We have Kyler, Chase, Waddle, St. Brown, Rondale Moore, Dobbs, Wandale. Running back, we have Cook, Pierce, Swift, Gus Edwards, Connor, Rashad White. Tight end, we had Dallas Goedert. Any ideas to improve the roster? Gus Edwards will literally be someone that we never in a million freaking years look to start. If we could package Gus Edwards with any wide receiver in either Rondale, Dobbs, or Wandale, I would be excited about that. Wandale was the player we were saying to sell last week. People were a little too hyped with Kadarius Toney trade. Don't know if we can get anything for him now. I think we trade Romeo Dobbs away with Gus Edwards. Go get the best wide receiver you can in return. We need to prioritize getting points in the lineup immediately on a 2-6 build. With Romeo Dobbs, he was great this past week as people expected him to be, given the fact that you're looking at him in a spot with no Allen Lazard. Christian Watson goes down at the beginning of the game. It's the best spot imaginable for the man. Okay, so we have Metcalf, Swift, Metcalf, Metcalf, Swift, Metcalf, Swift, Metcalf, Swift, Metcalf, Swift, Metcalf, Swift, Metcalf. Sounds like most people are going to take DK there. I mean, I know that was probably about the most annoying thing you've ever heard, but it is what it is. J-Max says, moving forward, should we start Smith or Pickens as the wide receiver 2? Should we trade Mooney for Kareem Hunt? Missed your answer last night. Thank you so much for always being out here in these live streams with us, my friend. I would trade Darnell Mooney for Kareem Hunt. Hell yes. What's the real ceiling in Chicago with the passing volume? I don't know. All I do know is it's pretty damn low. Whereas with Kareem Hunt, he's a low-end RB2. I mean, hell, straight up, he could go out there and outscore Darnell Mooney rest of season. Plus, we add on the fact that you're in a situation where his range of outcomes is so much wider, where if Nick Chubb were to go down, then all of a sudden Kareem Hunt is that true league-winning player. See, I would easily rather have Kareem Hunt over Darnell Mooney. But Greg coming out with a massive dono. Thank you, my friend. Let me skip ahead to this. We'll go right back to where we were. Coming out from, 10-team, 2-quarterback league. We have Hurts, Tua, CMC, Pollard, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Andrews, Duvernay in the flex. Currently 4-4 starting Algier and Deion Jackson for running backs with the bye week. Are we going to go Devin Duvernay or Romeo Dobbs in the flex this week? Any other moves to make? Thanks, Bruno. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Obviously, you're in a little pain this week. I mean, having both CMC and Pollard on the bye does suck. I think in the long term, if we could upgrade that second running back spot, that'd be advantageous. I mean, I don't see any clear sell high pieces on this roster, however. So I think what we're going to have to end up doing instead is just primarily focusing on the waiver wire and potential moves that we can make to find a running back to that way. Now, when it comes to what we are doing between Romeo Doubs and Devin Duvernay, what's nice is Duvernay plays on Monday night, so we're going to be able to wait and get all the information in Green Bay before we have to make this decision. But if we are in a spot where Allen Lazard and Christian Watson are playing, which I don't think that's going to be the case, then we go Devin Duvernay. If Allen Lazard and Christian Watson both miss, then you have to go Romeo Doubs. If Allen Lazard plays and Christian Watson misses, then we still probably go Romeo Doubs, but I wouldn't fault you if you wanted to go Duvernay in that instance. Now, Trozgeth says, in a 10-team full BBR format, we're 6-2. We have Allen, Chubb, Stevenson, Fournette, Adams, Brown, Goddard, Pierce, Pitts, Dak, Pollard, and Jamal Williams. Should we look to trade for another top receiver? If you wanted to go through and look to move, you have Dameon Pierce, your running back 4. Tony Pollard is your running back 5. Dear God. If we could trade Tony Pollard and maybe another wide receiver. Or how about this? You have Jamal Williams on the bench. Let's trade Pollard and Jamal Williams and go get a stud receiver. Go approach a team that really needs a running back. Go get T. Higgins. I would tell you Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think that's going to be possible. I think Higgins is the main guy you're looking at. I mean, it can't hurt to ask. Go ask for Amon-Ra St. Brown. See what happens. I'm trying to think of any other moves. I think Lamb could potentially be interesting if we have Dak on this team. But you have so many running backs there. That's a monstrous roster. Now, Warren says, in a happy BR format, we have St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Myers, Etienne, Gibson, Carter, Goddard, Ingram, Brandon Cooks. We're 5-3 looking to upgrade a running back. What are you thinking? Okay, so I think we may not have enough firepower to upgrade running back, my friend. We want to hold on to St. Brown, hold on to A.J. Brown. You're not going to get anything really for Jacoby Myers. You're not getting anything for Brandon Cooks. You're not getting anything for Evan Ingram. If you wanted, after this Thursday night game, the only way you could upgrade your running back position is by going through and trading Dallas Goedert as well as Antonio Gibson in a package to go get a better running back that way. But at the same time, I'm going to operate under the assumption that that is not something you want to do. I would not fault you at all if you didn't want to do that. So I don't know. That's a tough spot, my friend. You just don't have enough wide receiver firepower to make that easy upgrade at running back. Now, Mad Max says DJ Moore or Godwin for the flex coming off back-to-back losses. I'm going to go Godwin. DJ Moore's been phenomenal, but keep in mind, you've had 30 points a game pretty much over the past 2 weeks in Carolina. I think that does get dramatically scaled back. Demetrios coming out says, if Eckler's out, we rolling with DJ Moore, Montgomery, or Isaiah McKenzie. Here we will go DJ Moore because I think David Montgomery is also in a bad offense. But the difference is David Montgomery splitting his backfield, splitting his touches, where DJ Moore is the top dog there in Carolina. Elias says, trade Debo, DJ Moore, Eno, and Cooks for Deontay, Terry, Foreman, and Chuba Hubbard in a non-PPR format. So non-PPR format, Deontay Johnson, trash. Like, you want players with realistic touchdown upside in non-PPR formats. So going from Debo Samuel to Terry McLaurin, downgrade. DJ Moore to Deontay Johnson, downgrade. Essentially, it's a trade to get the Carolina running backs, which, I mean, I am more okay with this in a non-PPR format than I'd be in a full PPR league. The issue is, I think that Deontay Foreman takes a massive step back this week. Trust me, I'm really hoping I'm wrong. But looking at how he's crushed the past 2 weeks, I have a hard time imagining this keeps up. OX says, should we sell JT for Najee and DJ Moore or Najee Harris and a third-round pick next year? No. I'm going to keep Jonathan Taylor over Najee Harris. Oh, sorry. Bobcat asking if we're dropping a Dynasty video this week. Also, could we get a official video of your mock draft for the 2023 Dynasty Superflex format? Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, my friend. We did get a first-round mock draft with everybody on the flock on locals in that Dynasty channel. I'm assuming that you saw that and you want me to go through and do my own mock draft, maybe what I'll actually do is go ahead and live stream on the Dynasty channel and do a 2023 Dynasty rookie mock draft. Actually, no, we can't do that. Sleeper's not going to have those 2023 rookies uploaded yet, are they? That's a little frustrating. I'll figure something out. I'll try to get a Dynasty video out. It's going to be very difficult this late in the week, though. Connor says, who wins this trade? Judy, McLaurin, Jamal for Jacobs, Matt Collins, and A.J. Dillon. Oh, the Jacobs side. I think that with Jerry Judy, with Darren McLaurin, they're playing in offenses that severely cap their ceiling. If we're looking at Josh Jacobs, hell, at one point, he was the running back 2 on the season. Still a top 5 guy so far on a points per game basis. Now, Tito says, what trade should we make? We have DK Walker Everett for Chubb Swift. I would do that one. Kupp, Ayuk, Amon-Ra, Claypool, Dolce. Yeah, I think we should make this deal. Let's go ahead. Let's get Nick Chubb, upgrade over Kenneth Walker, and I'd rather have DeAndre Swift over Metcalf and Everett. Now, AJ says trade targets in a 14-team BBR format. We're 4-4. Goff at quarterback. Running backs, we have JT, Etienne, Hines, Cordell Patterson, Deion Jackson. Wide receiver, Chase, Boyd, Samuel, Sutton, Alec Pierce. Tight end, we have Hayden Hurst, Logan Thomas. Obviously, I mean, the team doesn't look great on paper, but you have to keep in mind it's a 14-team league. 14-team leagues, it's going to be a little bit easier to get by in terms of having a less than stellar roster because everybody's team looks a little bit worse. They're just same amount of players to go around and more people trying to grab them. I'm trying to come up with something. We can't sell a running back when we have Jonathan Taylor banged up. We're holding on for our dear life at running back. It's not like we can sell Goff. What the hell are we going to get for Goff? We can't sell Hayden Hurst or Logan Thomas. What are we going to get for them? I would say don't do anything right now unless we lose this week. Unless Jonathan Taylor misses this week, then Deion Jackson doesn't get the job done for us. We fall to 4-5. It looks like we're not getting Jamar Chase back anytime soon. I'm just walking through a hypothetical scenario here. And if that were to be the case, we probably would just have to sell Jamar Chase at a discount. I don't want to sell Chase at that discount right now, however, when we're 4-4, because what happens if we win this week and then we're that much closer to just getting him back? Now, Dylan says, hey man, so we're 5-3 projected, got offered these trades. What's best, if any? Give Henry and Allen for Kamara, Higgins, Dak. If that's Josh Allen, hell to the no. Give Henry for Pierce and CeeDee Lamb. What do you think? No, my friend, if you are currently sitting at 5-3, projected to be in first place, I think we're sitting pretty. No need to go out there and rush and make a deal. If you have Derrick Henry, he has a great playoff schedule. Derrick Henry has been crushing it. I don't think you need to make a trade. Joey says we have Walker, Pierce, Sutton, Kirk. Looking to go after Taylor. Who are we trading? Hell, if you could trade maybe Sutton and Dameon Pierce, I wouldn't mind it. Even if Dameon Pierce looked phenomenal this past week, I think Dameon Pierce is a very good running back. The issue is it's such a bad Houston Texans offense. I'm going to ask everybody in the live chat. Can everybody in the live chat please let me know who they would rather have? Please, everybody in the chat, spam it over and over again. Would you rather have Jonathan Taylor or Dameon Pierce? Jonathan Taylor or Dameon Pierce, please let me know. See what the chat's saying. Everybody's saying Dameon Pierce pretty much. I'm not going to fault you at all if you're saying Dameon Pierce. I completely understand why. Looks like a phenomenal running back. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor injured. Very easily, Dameon Pierce may be the correct answer. Not going to shy away from the fact that Dameon Pierce could easily be the correct answer here. I'm just a little bit sick in the head, if we're going to be honest. Now, Brandon says we have Tua, Dalvin, Diggs, Higgins, Waller, Godwin, Watson, Nyheim Hines, Jeff Wilson, Kareem Hunt. Would Hunt for Hollywood Brown trade be a good move? We're 6-2. I would wait a few weeks because this Hollywood Brown, value is not going to be going anywhere. So long you wait 1 to 2 weeks, then all of a sudden, crap, we can't get Hollywood anymore. No, Hollywood's not going to be back until like the fantasy football playoffs. So let's keep Hunt for now. The outside chance Chubb goes down, then hell, we have a league-winning player. But 2 weeks from now, if you wanted to make this deal, sure, go for it. Paul says, got offered JT and Sutton for Amon-Ra St. Brown and Khalil Herbert. Should we accept this? My other running backs are Kamara, Eckler. My receivers are Adams, Lamb, and Jacoby. Okay, so can we do another Jonathan Taylor price check? I know JT didn't practice yesterday. I know JT didn't practice today. I know everybody is terrified regarding Jonathan Taylor. I want to do another Jonathan Taylor price check. Would you rather have Jonathan Taylor or Amon-Ra St. Brown? Please, everybody in the live chat, Jonathan Taylor or Amon-Ra St. Brown. It doesn't really matter the rest of your roster. I think you're going to make it work regardless. So it's who are you wanting out of these guys? Okay, everybody's saying Amon-Ra St. Brown here, my friend. We have some JTs in the chat. Looks like overwhelming St. Brown. Now, Justin says, is it wrong to feel like Deion Jackson has a higher ceiling / floor than Jonathan Taylor? And trust me, I get it. I know we get delusional. I know we get delusional at this point of the year where we are so emotionally tied to these players, where we have recency bias. But can we take 10 steps back here? You just asked me if Deion Jackson has a higher ceiling than Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor had 3 straight seasons of 2,000 yards at Wisconsin at 18, 19, and 20 years old. Jonathan Taylor was the running back 1 overall in fantasy last year. Deion Jackson is a running back that I did not know existed until about 7 weeks ago. You are a crazy person. Now, Return to Reason says, thanks. Do you like Godwin over Williams in the flex? Assuming Jamal Williams? Hell yeah, go Godwin. Now, Doug says, should we trade CMC and DJ Moore for Saquon Barkley and Jamar Chase? Second place, a 5-3 record. Second place, 5-3 record. Yeah, let's go for it. I think Saquon Barkley, CMC, not going to be that far off rest of season. We can get Deebo Samuel back at San Francisco. Obviously, you'd rather have Christian McCaffrey at this point. But I think if we're in second place, if we can be primarily focusing on the rest of season upside, you have way more upside when it comes to Jamar Chase than we do with DJ Moore. Okay. Now, real quick, let me skip ahead. We have a couple massive donations. Let me answer these. We'll go right back to where we were. This one coming out from Rich. Thank you, my friend. Says, hey, Mason, grade the trade. We traded Geno, the Dallas defense, Rashad White, for Cordell Patterson and Tony Pollard. We have the Eagles defense. So obviously we're not needing the Dallas Cowboys one. Justin Fields and Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. So I'd make the argument if you have Tua and Fields at quarterback, hell, we're wasting a roster spot with Geno Smith. I don't really want to start Geno over Tua Tagovailoa ever. I really don't want a roster that has 3 quarterbacks on it. So assuming this is a 1 quarterback format, my friend, oh my gosh, I love it. I don't like rostering 2 defenses. I don't like rostering 3 quarterbacks. We were able to get value for them. We were able to bring in some high upside running backs. That's exactly what we're looking for. I love that, my man. Now, Bobcat coming out here again. Thank you. Says 7-1 squad. We have Brady, Barkley, Swift, Jefferson, Higgins, Frymuth. And the flex is Waddle. Bench is Stevenson, Pollard, Myers, Daniel Jones, Jamal Williams, Evan Ingram, Garrett Wilson. Should we ride it out or trade for a better quarterback / tight end? I would say don't trade for a better quarterback, because if you were making a move for a better quarterback, the deal would be like you're trading Tony Pollard and Tom Brady to get an elite level guy. In reality, I don't think you're going to be getting fair value for Tom Brady right now, because everybody wants to just focus in on the fact that Brady doesn't look good from a real life standpoint. And you have a hard time separating, Brady in real life compared to Brady specifically in fantasy. So I would say no, let's just go ahead and roll with what we have here. If we were to make a deal, oh my gosh, there's no sell high guys I want in the lineup. I want to keep Barkley. I want to keep Swift. I want to keep Jefferson. I want to keep Higgins. I want to keep Freiermuth. I want to keep Waddle. I think it would be interesting to see what we could get for Pollard and Stevenson, but I don't know who we're packaging them with. I mean, maybe if you could go through and just sell Ramondre Stevenson for Jonathan Taylor straight up or throw a tiny piece in the deal to get it done. I think a lot of people would just take Ramondre over JT straight up at this point. That'd be exciting because he's a player on your bench. So really the only thing that matters anyway is going to be the true upside that we have. I think Jonathan Taylor has more upside than Ramondre Stevenson. Now, our next week's coming out from Sterling. Thank you. It says a 7-1 record trading away Godwin, Sanders, Samuel for Chase and Pollard. Oh my gosh. Great deal. Great deal. We have Mahomes, Chubb, JT, Pollard, Damian Harris. Wide receivers, we have Chase, CD, Allen, Wandale, Jacoby. Also, why is everyone so scared of Jonathan Taylor? Shake my head. I mean, I understand why they are scared. I mean, it's not a spot that we can just completely ignore. He did miss practice yesterday. He missed practice today. He looked bad this past week. They look like they're kind of packing it in. I don't know. I mean, I'm there with you. I think JT is an intriguing buy low guy. Phenomenal trade specifically because your roster is 7-1. We have a lot of injuries where honestly, I'm probably going to assume that we lose the next few weeks. But even if we lose the next 2 weeks, then get our guys back and healthy. We're 7-3 and have the best roster in the league by a mile. Sounds like a pretty good spot to be in. And that's assuming that we lose the next 2 weeks. That's not even guaranteed. Now, Redemption coming out with our next question. This says, since Sanders, Amon-Ra, and Garrett Wilson, we got off the waiver wire today, and we got back Dameon Pierce, Chase Claypool, Deontay Foreman, and Olave. We just lost Michael Thomas, Breece Hall, and Rashad Bateman, specifically in a non-PPR format. Okay, so in a non-PPR format, this does change things. I would easily rather have Dameon Pierce over Miles Sanders. That was going to be non-PPR versus PPR. In a non-PPR format, give me Deontay Foreman over Garrett Wilson. Olave versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, I would still rather have Amon-Ra even if it was a non-PPR league. But I mean, I don't think the gap between those guys is too big to negate the other upgrades that we're getting elsewhere. So great trade. Now, NM says we have a Burrow, Eckler, Jacobs, Pierce, Eno, Gus Edwards, then Lamb, Pittman, Dobbs, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tony, Ingram, Deshaun Watson. What should we look to trade for? We think we need some wide receiver help. We're 5-3. No, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I would say Gus Edwards is someone that while he has some name value, while you can get something for him, I'm selling Gus Edwards for almost anything. Like, I think Gus Edwards is I don't want to say bad running back. I think Gus Edwards is a bad fantasy option. And the man is a running back that doesn't catch passes in a 3-man running back by committee. I don't want a running back in a 3-man committee, especially a running back in a 3-man committee, if he's not going to be catching the ball. So I would be interested in possibly going ahead and looking to, I don't know, package together Gus Edwards and Romeo Doubs to get an upgrade at wide receiver. If you wanted to upgrade at wide receiver that way, I mean, obviously, Romeo Doubs was great this past week when he was going up against the Buffalo Bills, but that's in a contest where you have no Lazard, and at the same time, you have Christian Watson going down at the beginning. Max has traded CMC to a Sutton for Jacobs and Alvin Kamara. If you have another viable quarterback, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. CMC to Kamara is a clear downgrade. Tua and Sutton to Josh Jacobs is a clear upgrade. If you were rolling with like Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, then sure. It's so hard to trade away CMC though. Now, Patrick says, little side note for the Cousins for Mostert trade. It's a 2-quarterback. Oh, okay. If it's a 2-quarterback format, please don't. 2-quarterback format, you need more for Kirk Cousins. That makes so much more sense. I'm very sorry, my friend. 1-quarterback format, 2-quarterback leagues, completely different when it comes to valuing like a Kirk Cousins for Raheem Mostert trade, especially with the roster construction and how many quarterbacks that we should be looking to roster. I am sorry. I'm going to try to remember that that's a 2-quarterback league from now on, my friend. But just to let you know, any question that we get asked, if it's on the Dynasty channel, I operate under the assumption that it's a Superflex league. I mean, you have to be playing Superflex in Dynasty. However, if it's on the Redraft channel, I assume it may be a little bit more of a casual crowd, and we are rolling with a 1-quarterback league there. But Crab Vision coming out says, start Mooney, Zay, or Carter on the Chargers in a half PPR format. I wouldn't mind if you wanted to go DeAndre Carter, specifically if we had no Keenan and no Mike Williams. You have to have both wide receivers out. If Keenan Allen does play, I would instead probably pivot over to go Darnell Mooney. Now, NF Fishing says Palmer or Duvernay at the flex this week. We'll go Palmer if Keenan misses. We'll go Duvernay if Keenan plays. Now, Ramu says in a 10-team PPR format, we're 3 and 5. We have JT, Swift, Moss, Algier, and Alexander Madison. Which two are we looking to start? If they play, you go JT and Swift. Now, if JT were to miss, then I think the backup plan's Tyler Algier. And I think that's a safe backup plan. I don't think we go and pivot over to Zach Moss. Not going to start Zach Moss, even if Jonathan Taylor misses. I think the guy will be Deion Jackson. Russ says ETN or Kenneth Walker at PPR format. We're going to go ETN. We're going ETN. Caesar says, traded for Jonathan Taylor yesterday. We're in shambles, my man. I'm sorry. I mean, obviously, Jonathan Taylor is a little scary right now. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay. I can't ignore the fact that he is scary, like 100%. But the ceiling is still there. And Nab coming out says in a 10-team PPR format, currently 4 and 4, we have Lamar, Mixon, JT, St. Brown, Waddle, Higgins, Kelsey, and then on the bench, CMC, Godwin, Gordon, James Cook, Nyheim Hines, James Conner, Kenyon Drake, help, love you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. I truly do appreciate you. And if we were going to be looking at making any moves, I mean, it's a phenomenal roster. It's a great team. We have JT, Mixon, CMC, James Conner, Melvin Gordon. We have so many running backs. The only thing I have to say, and this is garbage advice, it's so small, but drop James Cook. I thought James Cook was very exciting because I thought this coaching staff didn't believe in Devin Singletary. Singletary wasn't a good pass catcher, and they wanted James Cook to be the pass catcher. Then they traded for Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines is what we thought James Cook was going to be. So I think we go ahead and we drop Cook and pick up someone else out the waiver. I'm sorry, my friend. I wish we had some more advice. You have a great team. Now, R46 coming out says, we have Adams, Brown, Pitts, Moore, ETN, Pierce, Stevenson, Mixon, Brady at quarterback. Should we trade a running back for Burrow or try to get Kelsey or Andrews? I would say no to the trade regarding Joe Burrow. I think Brady's still startable in fantasy. Brady's second in the NFL in passing yards. He hasn't been great from a real life perspective, but if we look at the games where Godwin has played with Tom Brady, he's been fine. If you wanted to trade for a tight end, I think Andrews will be a fine target. However, I would wait a week on Mark Andrews. Don't give up any value to get him right now because his value really can't go anywhere if he misses this week and then he has a bye week the week following. Now, Leo Cool says in a 10-team PPR format, we're 5 and 3. We have Herbert, Etienne, Stevenson, Jefferson, Gabe Davis, James Conner, Everett, Deion Jackson, Jamar Chase, Dylan, Eno, Jamal, Duvernay, Sutton. Any moves we are looking to make? I mean, my friend, you know I'm always in the mood to trade away Cortland Sutton if that's a possibility. I don't know if it is a possibility anymore. I mean, the only trade I'd say is if we can move Sutton and Gerald Everett and go get an upgrade at tight end, go get someone like Pat Frymuth. I'd be very excited about it, especially with Claypool. Moving on from Pittsburgh. Now, Mezio says, hey, Mason, love the video streams. You've been killing it. Thank you. We traded Fournette and Sutton for Jonathan Taylor. What are your thoughts? 7-1 full PPR format. I would say Sutton has almost absolutely no value right now. I mean, of course, I am the number one world Cortland Sutton hater, but I think if we are looking at this, it's just Fournette for Jonathan Taylor straight up. I'm going to ask everyone in the live chat again. I mean, I would rather have JT. I think JT has a higher ceiling. I think they both have red flags with the Rachaad White usage. But please, everybody in the chat, spam it. We got 1,100 people out here. Would you rather have Jonathan Taylor or Leonard Fournette rest of season? Jonathan Taylor or Leonard Fournette rest of season, please let me know. Now, Max says we have Kirk, Kamara, Jacobs, Godwin, Juju, Mark, and Swift. Should we make a trade? I don't see a clear sell high guy. No, we're going to be sticking as is. And, most people saying JT over Leonard Fournette. Okay. I'm good. Yeah, good. I mean, I'd be worried about that. Now, Robbie says in a 10-team half PPR format, we have Eckler, Kamara, Fournette, Mixon, and Connor. We have Tyreek, Godwin, and Williams. Would you trade Fournette for Olave? If we have Tyreek and Godwin, no. I think Olave could easily outscore Fournette rest of season with Michael Thomas being out. However, I mean, if we're trading away a running back at this point, I think we need to be charging a premium with all the running back injuries and all the running back red flags we have across the league. Jeep Guy, always happy to see you out here, says, took your advice and was able to trade Cousins, Palmer, and Ayuk for Kyler Murray. Hell yes. You're the GOAT. Congrats on the success this year. You earned it all. Thank you so much, my friend. Don't know if we earned it all, but I will. I definitely do appreciate the kind words, I promise. And thank you so much. Nicholas says, traded Jacobs, Tyreek, Lazard for CMC, Cooper, Keenan. Smart move, rest of season. It's a $1,000 league. Obviously, give me CMC over Jacobs. It's getting that downgrade at receiver. I think this is going to be a smart move if we can get to the fantasy football playoffs where CMC has a very advantageous schedule, where Amari Cooper has the number one schedule for wide receivers for that fantasy football playoff stretch, and if we have Keenan Allen fully back. If those three things hit, then I like it. But I am a little bit worried about the Keenan Allen injury. I mean, we've been so wrong about this Keenan Allen injury for God knows how long now. Now, Joe coming out with our next question. Thank you, my friend. This one says, Herbert, Eckler, Henry, Boyd, St. Brown, Everett, Mostert, Eagles defense. It's a 10-team deep PPR league. We got Joshua Palmer and unsure if he's better than Raheem Mostert. And desperately trying to upgrade at wide receiver. I mean, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown as your wide receiver one. It's not a horrible spot. If we are looking at trying to figure out the starting lineup between Raheem Mostert and Joshua Palmer, obviously, if Keenan Allen were to play, you don't think twice about it. We're going ahead. We're playing Raheem Mostert. Mostert has a good matchup against the Chicago Bears. I'd be surprised if Jeff Wilson comes in and has a massive role right away. Now, with that being said, I mean, hell. If Keenan Allen were to miss, Joshua Palmer's the wide receiver one going up against the Atlanta Falcons with no Mike Williams, with no Keenan Allen. I think if it's a full PPR format, you're maybe somewhat concerned about Jeff Wilson, and we have no Keenan, no Eckler. No Keenan, no Williams. Could go ahead and play Palmer. Now, you Savage coming out says, we traded Mixon for Goddard and Justin Fields. Needed a good bye weeker for Burrow next week. Was this a good or a bad deal? We had Zach Ertz and then traded for Chase Claypool, full PPR. Love the content. Thank you so much. Not a fan of trading Ertz for Chase Claypool, if I'm going to be honest. And not a fan. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like either deal. I would rather have Mixon over Goddard and Justin Fields. I would rather have Zach Ertz over Chase Claypool. We turned Joe Mixon and Zach Ertz into Justin Fields, Chase Claypool, and Dallas Goedert. I am personally not a believer in the passing volume in Chicago. I don't think it's going to be there. Now, C. Mello says, should I trade DeAndre Hopkins for Mike Evans and Dameon Pierce? I would be fine with this if we need depth. Especially because if we are looking at Hopkins, we will eventually get Hollywood back in. Peppa Pig always out here says trade Kittle and DJ Moore or Allen Lazard for CeeDee Lamb. I would trade Kittle and Lazard for Lamb. If you have another viable tight end, if we're rolling with someone like Freiermuth, I'd make that deal. Mike says 12-team BBR format. Start 2 running backs, a receiver, and a flex. We have Kupp, Jefferson, Hopkins, Higgins, Ayuk, Saquon, Foreman, Herbert, Connor. Should I trade Ayuk for Cordell Patterson? Ooh. Deontay Foreman currently our running back 2. You're getting James Conner back in. But at receiver, you have 4 elite level guys in Kupp, Jefferson, Hopkins, and T. Higgins. If this is your roster, Can everybody please let me know who would you rather have rest of season? Brandon Ayuk or Cordell Patterson? You're loaded at receiver. You could use a running back too. Who would you rather have rest of season? Brandon Ayuk or Cordell Patterson? Now, Lachlan coming out says, just got offered Najee, Keenan, and Sutton for Waddle. Who are we rolling with? We also got offered Josh Jacobs for Jamar Chase. I probably keep Chase unless we're like sitting here at what, 2-6, 3-5, and are desperate for a win right now. I'm going Keenan. I'm sorry. I'm going Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is someone that I've drafted in every league imaginable. I have him everywhere. I'm very biased regarding any question with Jalen Waddle here. I think Najee maybe is an intriguing buy low candidate, but if you can get him at a cheaper price point than this. Anthony says, we were offered Swift for CeeDee Lamb. Thoughts, PBR? Thank you so much. I think that they are very close in value. I think it's a fair deal, and it's going to depend on your roster. Thank you so much for being a part of the flock. Always, my friend. Daniel says, should we buy low on Sutton or Kyle Pitts? Daniel, don't know how long you've been a member of the flock, but Courtland Sutton is someone that we have always been screaming into the abyss, that people literally for years now have been dramatically overrating Courtland Sutton. And every single season, they come up with a new excuse for Courtland Sutton and why he failed. No, I'm not buying low on Courtland Sutton. Kyle Pitts is a pretty good playoff schedule if you wanted to go in that direction. It's hard to say that, though, when you have no passing volume in Atlanta. Era says, Duvernay or Garrett Wilson? I think we go Duvernay. Tover says, Kadarius Toney at the flex this week. We have Adams, Higgins, Evan Ingram. Need a flex. We only have Toney or Uncle Lenny. Wait, what? You're telling me we can go Toney or Leonard Fournette or Kadarius Toney at the flex spot? If that's the case, for the love of God, don't play Kadarius Toney. Please play Chris Olave. Now, our next question coming out from Rich. Again, thank you. I'm literally out here every night. Says, Mason back again in the same league. Just got Patterson and Pollard. Got offered Kelsey, Olave, and Pittman for Schultz and Jefferson. Your thoughts, and do you make this trade in a 500? Okay, first off, again, congrats on the phenomenal trade where we get both running backs. Okay, so going from Jefferson to Kelsey, that's going to be a downgrade. Both players are through their bye, though. Dalton Schultz to Olave, it's going to be upgrade. Let me pull up your roster and see if Michael Pittman is someone that we really need in the starting lineup. You know I'm not a big Pittman guy either. Okay, Rich, can you please let me know your roster in the live chat? I'd be super happy to answer you this question. You know what? I actually don't even think we need the roster. If I'm looking at this. No, we need the roster. Rich, can you please let me know your roster? I want to give you the best answer I can. Please, please, please. And we'll get back to that in 1 second. I'm sure we'll take Rich some time to type that out. And please do not feel the need to donate. Please just type it in the live chat. I'm going to hit Control F. I'll be able to find your name in the live chat like that. Please don't donate it. Just put it in the live chat. I'm going to hit Control F. Find it in 1 second. And everybody, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on the live stream. We are 2 likes away from hitting 1,100 likes on the stream. Thank you so much for everybody supporting the channel. We have pretty much 99% of y'all have already dropped a like, almost 100%. Now, next question coming out from, I believe, Kintrell says, Terry and Debo for James Conner, Garrett Wilson, and Zay Jones. You got to go Terry and Debo. Those aren't 2 wide receivers that I like, but I think you could get a little more value for them. Now, it's Digbar says, do we play Deion Jackson or James Conner? I think that you are going to go ahead and play Deion Jackson if Jonathan Taylor does not play and it's a full PPR format. I think we wait to see what the role looks like for James Conner. Now, Wasim says, in a 12-team PPR format, we have Lamar, JT, Aaron Jones, Pittman, Olave, Goddard, Wilson, Akers, Gordon, Toney, Pickens, Hines. By the way, tonight I made a trade for Jones and Goddard for Kelsey and Singletary. Thoughts on the roster and the deal? Singletary has absolutely no value, so we traded away Kelsey for Aaron Jones as well as Dallas Goedert. Obviously looking good with the Goedert performance this week. I would be interested to see if we could go ahead and look to package together maybe Aaron Jones with another player after this week, after he crushed the Detroit Lions. Maybe if we could go through and move like George Pickens and Aaron Jones after this week and go get a truly elite level running back, go get a Saquon Barkley. I think that'd make a lot of sense, because I'm not going to be surprised when Aaron Jones has a third straight week of dominance here against the Detroit Lions, maybe puts up another 100 total yards, maybe comes away with multiple touchdowns. However, I'm not a believer of that in the long term. So if we can parlay this Kelsey deal into going and getting that truly elite level running back by packaging in one of our depth wide receivers, I would really like that. Okay. Let me see if Rich has had the time to type his team in the chat for us. Okay, so not yet. Rich, please let me know in that live chat what that roster is, and I'm going to be super happy to answer that question for you. Now, let's go find our next question. This one coming out from, I believe, Shokotan says, start/flex, Mostert, Foreman, Khalil Herbert, Nyheim Hines. We're going to start both Mostert and Foreman. I mean, easily. I don't think we have to overthink it. Now, Dicer says, we need to play one of the running backs. Horrible, I know. We have Gibson, Hines, Khalil Herbert, Deion Jackson. Already played Dameon Pierce. My man, I honestly think that we got a good performance from Dameon Pierce here. Like, compared to where it could have been in this Houston Texans offense going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, I thought that this was going to be the nastiest game ever for Houston, and you weren't going to get anything from Dameon Pierce. I want to say this was almost best case scenario, if I'm going to be honest. I think we probably have to go through and play Deion Jackson. If Jonathan Taylor misses, that would be the easy call. If Jonathan Taylor plays, I think we go Khalil Herbert. I think that would be the swap. Okay, but Rich says we have Tua Fields at quarterback. Running back, we have Pierce, Jamal, Cordell Patterson, Tony Pollard, Deion Jackson. So we do need help at the running back position. Receiver, we have Jefferson, Sutton, Julio, Jameson. Tight end, we have Hurts and Dalton Schultz. Oh my gosh. We needed that running back trade so bad, my friend. I think this team still isn't great. Like, I would love to lie to you and tell you this is the best team we've seen all live stream. I think that this team's going to be significantly better now that we went through and made that deal for those two running backs. So the trade now that we're looking at is trading away Jefferson and getting back Kelsey, Olave, and Pittman. And I know we're trading away Schultz as well. Specifically with your roster, where I feel like we are going to have a very hard time fielding a starting lineup every single week. I feel like we are going to have a hard time finding players for that flex spot. I would go ahead and make this deal. I would go ahead and get Kelsey, Olave, and Pittman. Obviously, we don't want to be trading away Justin Jefferson, but sometimes it just sucks, and you kind of just have to. Now, Daniel says, if Eckler's out, is Sony Michel a good pick for this week? Issue with Sony Michel is he's not going to catch passes. Issue with Sony Michel is Joshua Kelly may be involved. I mean, Isaiah Spiller's back in as well. This offense may be significantly worse with no Keenan Allen as well as no Mike Williams. I think he'll be a fine option, but he'll be a scary option because I don't think he's a lock to be the starting running back and to get every single touch. I think it could be a nasty running back by committee. Sawyer says, my man, rate the trade and the team rest of season. Traded Ramondre, Boyd, Amari for CMC, Sutton. Now we have Hurts, CMC, Jacobs, ETN, Kupp, Ayuk, Andrews. You already know this is a phenomenal team. You already know this is a phenomenal trade. I don't like Sutton, but going and getting Christian McCaffrey for Ramondre, Boyd, and Amari when no other player is remotely close to this range, great trade. Mark says, should I trade away JT for Michael Pittman and Najee Harris? We're 3-5. I personally want it. I know a lot of other people are terrified about Jonathan Taylor and Wood. I would nut up, though, and roll with JT. Return to Reason says, a follow-up question. Do you like Deion Jackson, even with noob Ellinger versus Belichick's defense at home, would you flex Godwin over Kirk? Thank you again, Flocky Rock. Thank you, my friend. We would flex Godwin over Kirk. Let me look at the spread of this game. I mean, obviously, you're in a spot with Sam Ellinger where he may just be the best starting quarterback in the NFL this week. Hook 'em horns? Obviously, that's not the case. I mean, I know we want to sit here and go, oh my gosh, Sam Ellinger is going to get crushed against Bill Belichick. That's the initial reaction. The spread on this game is 5 points. It's not massive. The thing with Deion Jackson is last time I said to go through and bench him, the man went through and had like 10 receptions. Doesn't matter if Indianapolis does horrible, if the man's getting double-digit targets out of the backfield. Now, Justin says we have Kamara, both Lions running backs. We start both Lions running backs, including one at the flex, or flex Kadarius Toney or Deion Jackson with Jonathan Taylor hurt. If Jonathan Taylor misses, I flex Deion Jackson. If Jonathan Taylor plays, we flex Jamal Williams. You can't go Kadarius Toney. Not this week. Now, 6 letters says a dynasty and a long rebuild. We have Khalil Herbert, Akers, and Eno for a future first and Bateman. Oh my gosh. Please don't overthink this. Go get the future first and Rashad Bateman right this second. Yeah, do not overthink. Go get the future first and Rashad Bateman right this second. Now, AV says standard 3 wide receiver plus flex league. 5 and 3. We have Jones, Etienne, Pollard, Jamal, Jefferson, Sutton, Rondale, Curtis Samuel, TJ Hawkinson. Traded away Khalil Herbert for Devonta Smith. Was this a bad move? I would say yes, in a league that starts 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and only 1 flex. In a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers, I mean, we've been comparing Devonta Smith for a very long time to Gabriel Davis as a wide receiver that, I mean, is going to give you some random spike weeks, is going to have a very high ceiling, considering the fact that he's an elite level offense and he's a pretty talented guy. I don't know. In a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers, I think maybe we just roll with the volatility there, assuming it's a full PPR format. Now, Eric says we're 1-7 in a 12-team app PPR Dynasty format. So obviously, we're burning it all down. Trade Hunt for a Hall. Are you kidding me? You traded Kareem Hunt for Breece Hall. I'm assuming the people in your Dynasty League have never played Dynasty before. Oh my God. That is the most ridiculous trade I've ever seen. Even if I was a team that was going all in to win right this second, even if I was a team that was 7-1, 8-0, I would still trade Kareem Hunt for Breece Hall. Pittman, Kirk, Boyd for T. Higgins, Devonta Smith. Oh my God. Team is Dak, Jefferson, Etienne, Gibson, Pitts, Freiermuth, Deontay, Wandale, Pickett, Madison, Elijah Moore, Tyler Conklin. Any more moves? Sell Conklin for any future rookie pick you can get. Try to go get a second. Go throwing Gibson. Try to get another second as well. Sell Gibson for a second round rookie pick. Sell Conklin for a second round rookie pick. It's crazy to say, but if this is the quality of competition we're going up against in the Dynasty League, maybe we can move Deontay Johnson, get a 2023 first. Maybe, just maybe. But Patrick out here again. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure if you're able to answer my question, but the trade was Cousins for Mostert in a 2-quarterback league. Okay, so we would go ahead and take a look at this again. It's completely different in a 2-quarterback format. Obviously, that 1-quarterback league, I love trading Kirk Cousins for Raheem Mostert. I was really confused on why we were rostering so many QBs. Even if we were getting Daniel Jones added in, I probably would still need a better running back in return. Kirk Cousins has just a higher floor and ceiling combo than Daniel Jones, in my opinion, this year. Kirk Cousins is also through his bye week already. Daniel Jones on his bye week now. So you'd be in a spot where we're having to go through and start the combo of Mariota and Andy Dalton. That would be absolutely disgusting. So I think if you're going to be trading away Kirk Cousins in that 2-quarterback format, you need to be asking for more than just Mostert and Daniel Jones. Obviously, 1-quarterback league, I do it in a heartbeat. Now, Idiot Enigma says start Dobbs or Davis as your wide receiver 2 this week. I think you got to go Gabriel Davis. Not a big Gabe Davis guy. We were saying to sell him high earlier in the year when he was spiking and having like almost 200 receiving yards in a game. However, but you're looking at a situation. He's just going to be a very high ceiling player, very low floor player. I think that there's no reason to get off of him now. Now, Dre says trade Pierce for T. Higgins. We have we have Aaron Jones and Travis Etienne. If it's a full PPR format, I'm not that excited about Dameon Pierce, a running back that does not catch passes, that's playing in a bad offense. And I know it's crazy because Dameon Pierce looks so good, and we've been talking about this all season now. But Dameon Pierce, we can all agree, looked phenomenal tonight. Unbelievable. However, if we go ahead and pull this up, Dameon Pierce, in a phenomenal performance, had 27 carries and 139 rushing yards. But because he's playing in a horrible offense and didn't score a touchdown, because he didn't get used in the receiving game, he scored 13 points. So that PBR format, how many running backs can you get score you 13? I would still probably lean Dameon Pierce over T. Higgins, just knowing the fantasy football trade value of these guys. You can get more for Pierce, but I don't mind the idea at all. Now our next question coming out from Dev says, traded Ramondre and Lazard for Sanders and Metcalf in a PPR league. Needed wide receiver out badly. Now we have Allen, Barkley, Swift, Sanders, Jamal, DK, Gabe Davis, Sutton, Palmer, Dobbs, and Dalton Schultz. What are your thoughts? I think you could have squeezed a little bit more value out of Ramondre Stevenson, if I'm going to be honest. People are super excited about Ramondre Stevenson, viewing him as a top 10 running back rest of season, but I'm okay with it. If you were desperate for a receiver, and DK Metcalf clearly looks like he's just a must-start guy in this offense. Ray says, got off for JT for Kenneth Walker. Do I do it? The other running back is Alvin Kamara. We're 2-6. Specifically on a 2-6 roster, you cannot afford to think about long-term upside plays. We need to be thinking about players we can get in the starting lineup right this second. So for 2-6, no, I think you're going to roll with Kenneth Walker. Now, Taya says, in a 10-team PPR league, we need a better running back. We have Jalen Hurts, T. Higgins, Jefferson, Gabe Davis, Fournette, Swift, Ertz, and then on the bench, we have Khalil Herbert, Jerry Jeudy, Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore. What do we do for a solid running back one? What I would love to do is package together DJ Moore and Leonard Fournette, go get the best running back that we can in return. If you're not able to get to a tier, guys like Barkley, which may not be possible. Of course, you can go out there and try. Hell, worst they can do is say no. Then also, I would be looking to trade Leonard Fournette, maybe straight up. We could go out there and get someone like, I don't know, maybe Jonathan Taylor, someone that people are very worried about. If that doesn't work either, maybe we go ahead and try to trade Leonard Fournette and Deontay Johnson and go get Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I just think that's the move if you're looking at the Rachaad White usage as of late. Michael says, Wager and Duvernay for Tyreek Hill. We get Hill, full PBR format where we have Herbert, Evans, Olave, Dalvin Swift. We have Dalvin Swift and Stevenson. Yes, go get Tyreek Hill. I love Kenneth Walker, my second most drafted running back this year, but you got to get Tyreek. Like Jimmy says, 7-1, but we have CMC and Barkley out. Should we start Pacheco or Rachaad White at running back 2? Different league, Fields or Kirk Cousins at quarterback 2 this week and rest of season. Okay, so rest of season, I'm going to go Rachaad White over Isaiah Pacheco for his upside. This week and this week alone, we'll go Isaiah Pacheco. And then Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins. I think Fields is going to be a better fantasy option. Kirk Cousins is going to be a significantly better real-life option. Because the issue with Cousins is he's not going to run the ball whatsoever. With Justin Fields, I don't think he's a great real-life NFL quarterback. I think he's actually a bad real-life NFL quarterback. And I'm confidently saying that. I don't think I'm going to look stupid saying that a year from now. We look good saying it after his rookie season. But people still think he's going to be great. I mean, but when you're getting 60 rushing yards a game, it's hard for me to ignore it. Even if I'm a Justin Fields hater, that rushing production, it's really hard to ignore. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Alex, to start 3, Etienne, Jacobs, Mixon, and Waddle. Probably have to go through and bench Mixon, right? I mean, with Joe Mixon, I like him. He looked bad this past week just strictly because of the offense. But yeah, let's bench Mixon. Let's play ETN, Jacobs, and Jalen Waddle. Manny says, in a 12-team PPR format, 4-4, traded Walker and Keenan for Hopkins and Connor. Was this a good move? We have Burrow, Mixon, Connor, Foreman, Jefferson, Hopkins, Lazard, Samuel, Schultz, Fields. Any more changes? Say no more changes after this. I mean, if you could go ahead and trade maybe Lazard in a smaller piece, get T. Higgins, I would like it. Specifically with your roster, I'm going to be okay with it. I mean, going back to what we were looking at with Kenneth Walker, I mean, I truly do really love Kenneth Walker, my second most drafted running back. But if we're going to be honest, he's not going to catch passes. So if he's not going to catch passes at all and you're playing in a full PPR league, we are in a situation where you probably need to go ahead and sell when we can get that elite level value. It is close, though. It is close. Okay. So now our next question coming out from, I believe, Adam says, drop one, Dotson, Tony, or Allen Robinson. Oh, drop Allen Robinson. What are we doing still holding Allen Robinson? What else do we need to see? Now, Soli says, in a full PPR format, we have Mahomes, Hopkins, Jefferson, Cook, Saquon, Kittle, Debo. Any changes? If we were looking to change anything, I would love to go through and sell Debo Samuel. If you could package like Debo Samuel and Kittle and go get Kelsey to stack with Mahomes, I would love that. Now, Shugatan says, start, sit, flex, Mostert, Foreman, Khalil Herbert, and Nyheim Hines. We're going to start Mostert, Foreman as the top two RBs. We'll go Khalil Herbert in the flex over Nyheim Hines. Tight end, we have Ingram, Andrews, Gesicki. Obviously, we're going to go Andrews if healthy. If Andrews is not healthy, pivot over to Gesicki. Bench wide receivers, we have... Bench wide receivers, Godwin. Never mind. Put Godwin in the flex. My Godwin's much better than any of those RBs. Now, Martin says, huge fan of restarting Fournette or Jamal Williams. Oh, you got to go with Leonard Fournette, my friend. Thank you. And Deed says, flex Khalil Herbert or Rondale Moore. Thanks, Flock Leader. No, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Say full PPR format, we go Rondale Moore. Non-PPR league, we go Khalil Herbert. Mad Max says, don't think my question got answered. Honestly, my friend, I think we accidentally skipped you, and I'm so sorry about that. Let me go ahead and let me pull this up real quick. This one is DJ Moore or Chris Godwin for the flex, coming off of back-to-back losses. No, actually, no, we did answer this. Never mind. That's why I was a little confused. Yeah, no, we are going to go ahead and we're going to take Chris Godwin. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, didn't we answer this guy? No, we did. Daniel says, start Mostert or Taylor this week. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you so much. If Taylor plays, I'll start Taylor. If Taylor plays, I'll start Jonathan Taylor over Raheem Mostert. Crazy that sounds like a bold take at this point. Jake says, rate my squad, 12-team PPR format with Hurts, Eckler, JT, Ramadre, Lamb, Amon-Ra, Kelsey, Judy, Watson, Tony, Akers, Jameson. Love it. I'll say once we get closer to Deshaun Watson returning, people realize, oh crap, Deshaun Watson's going to come back. He's going to be a top 5 quarterback. Then if we could package Deshaun Watson with a player like Ramadre Stevenson and get up to a truly elite level running back, I would be excited about that, knowing that Jalen Hurts is starting for us every week regardless. And he's through his bye. Now, real quick, we have a massive dono coming out from Chael. Let me skip ahead to this. We'll go right back to where we were. It's an 8-team full PPR format. 3 receivers, 2 flex spots, 3 and 5 roster. We had Murray, Olave, Evans, Higgins, Jones, Swift, Jacobs, Kelsey, Amari. Made 4 trades. Now the team is Kyler, Diggs, Olave, Higgins, Jacobs, Taylor, Fournette, Dulcich, Jackson. On the white, were the trades worth it? So we go from Kyler to Kyler. That's not an improvement. We go from Evans and Olave at receiver to Diggs and Olave. So obviously that is an upgrade. Running back, we go from Jones, Swift, Jacobs to Taylor, Jacobs, Fournette. I'm not out on Taylor, and if it's an 8-team league, the only thing I care about is having an elite level ceiling. So I'd rather have the running backs. So we'd rather have your receivers on this team, your running backs on this team. But the issue is we give up Kelsey to get it done. If we're giving up Kelsey to get it done, maybe if this was like a 12-team format, then sure. However, I'm going to have a harder time doing it in an 8-team league because in an 8-team league, everybody's going to have a phenomenal running back room. Everybody's going to have a phenomenal wide receiver core. The one way we can actually make our roster stand out is by having that elite level tight end. So specifically because it's an 8-team league, I'm a little bit hesitant. But Jeremiah says, a full BBR, how should we upgrade? We have Lamar, JT, Swift, Etienne, Hunt, Foreman, Ertz, Evans, Olave, Amari, Pittman, Keenan, Drake London, Sugga, Pat Stevens. Don't really care about kicker defense. I would love to trade Deontay Foreman. Deontay Foreman, arguably our running back 5 here. If we could trade Deontay Foreman and Zach Ertz, go get a tight end upgrade, go get someone like Kittle going into the bye. I think I'd be very excited about that. Maybe package Deontay Foreman and Pittman to go get a wide receiver upgrade. I think Deontay Foreman just never makes a difference in this roster in a full PBR league. It's not someone that catches the ball. Chuba Hubbard is going to come in. Maybe this is a split backfield, but honestly, what I'm a little bit more worried about, just this offense getting much worse going forward. Aiden says, should I trade Diggs and Fournette for Jefferson and JT? I would. Diggs, Jefferson are the same for me. Fournette, Jonathan Taylor. Give me Jonathan Taylor. Adam says, 10-team BBR format, super flex. Lance in the 201 for the 101/102, whichever one it ends up being. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, go get the 101. Badly need running back. In last, thank you for Bijan in the pick. I'd be getting is 1-7 with me right now, but okay, yeah, I think that we are going to go ahead. And I was the biggest proponent of Trey Lance in Dynasty rookie drafts. Looking at the rushing upside that he had, looking at the situation he was stepping into, we're saying everybody is way overconfident with their ability to just go out there and evaluate Justin Fields and say Justin Fields is going to be way better as an NFL quarterback. Don't go Fields. Instead, I mean, you got Lance cheaper. I love Lance. I built an entire brand on loving Trey Lance, his rookie season in Dynasty over Justin Fields. Going Lance over Fields, Lance over Fields, Lance over Fields. We're the only guy doing it. And I want to say that was the right call. Obviously, Trey Lance gets injured. But with Trey Lance getting injured, with the first 2 years of his career going this way so far, I think we probably have to go ahead and take the future first. Nick says, love the streams. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Says, just got Jimmy G and my league let me get Eckler and Barkley for my starting running backs with Kittle already. Okay, if we have Eckler, Barkley at running back, that is phenomenal, my friend. I don't get that excited about having Jimmy G. I know he's in a great spot with CMC coming over. Don't get that excited, though. Now, Tover says, cleared up for me. You've got to be to back-to-back wins. Running backs, Eckler, Mostert, Lenny. Lenny over Mostert at running back 2. You have me doubting this Tampa offense. Much appreciated. As always, great info, Mason. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, my friend. And like I said, I think in Tampa, you have to be worried about them if you are a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. However, if you are a fantasy football player, you still got a lot of volume in Tampa. I mean, with Ramos, he's just not going to catch the ball. I don't know. I think it's still clearly Leonard Fournette over Mostert. Just even if my explanation sounds confusing and backwards. Let's just look at the fantasy points within a week. Fournette's going to score more. Now, Wasim says in a 12-team full PBR format, we're 5-3. We have Lamar, JT, Aaron Jones, Olave, Pittman, Goddard, Wilson, Akers, Melvin, Pickens, Tony Hines. Before today, we traded Kelsey and Singletary for... Okay, no, we already answered this one. Adam says, Khalil Herbert, dynasty values, a seller hold. So David Montgomery is going to be on the last year of his rookie contract. I think a lot of people know that. If I pull up keep trade cut regarding Khalil Herbert's value, let me figure out where he is. Khalil Herbert in dynasty is valued, according to keep trade cut, back-to-back with Kenny Pickett and Treylon Burks. And from a Dynasty fantasy football perspective, give me Kenny Pickett and Treylon Burks over Khalil Herbert. It's not even remotely close, assuming it's a super flex league, of course. So I guess if those are the guys we can get, we have to say sell. Now, Keenan coming out says, we have Hurts, Eckler, Stevenson, Diggs, Amon-Ra, Boyd, Hill, Olave, Myers, Dobbs, Connor, Eno. Any moves we're looking to make? In reality, great team, well-balanced roster. I really like it. If we were looking to do anything, maybe we could kind of see what value we could get for Madre Stevenson. I mean, people are treating Stevenson as a top 10 locked and loaded running back rest of season. If we could package Stevenson with a receiver like Romeo Dobbs and go get a truly elite level running back, I'd be interested in it. When Dobbs doesn't necessarily look like someone that we're actually relying on in the starting lineup here. And with Dobbs, he did benefit greatly from Allen Lazard missing this past week, as well as, Christian Watson going down at the beginning of the game. But Seamless says, currently have Singletary, Palmer starting for the flex. We have Claypool, Gibson, Allen Robinson on the bench. Which do we start? I would be interested in asking everybody this. Obviously, we have Naheem Hines coming over to Buffalo to muddy things up for Devin Singletary. Would you start Devin Singletary or Antonio Gibson this week? Can everybody please spam the chat? Who would you rather start? Would you rather start Devin Singletary or Antonio Gibson this week? We got 1,000 people out here. If we can get 1,000 messages, that'd be awesome. And Deep says we're 6-2, and we have Allen, Barkley, Swift, Sanders, Jamal, Deion Jackson, DK, Gabe Davis, Palmer, Sutton, Dobbs, and Dalton Schultz. Any moves, or are we good as is? I would like, I know this is, just a crap, an annoying thing to say. If we could go approach the Jonathan Taylor owner and go, hey man, I'll give you Deion Jackson and Cortland Sutton, get a wide receiver upgrade. I'll give you Deion Jackson and Romeo Dobbs, get a wide receiver upgrade. I'll give you Deion Jackson and Dalton Schultz, get me a tight end upgrade. Would really like that. It's a roster where I love the construction of it. Obviously, you're 6-2. You're winning games for a reason. I think it's a great squad. I know it's a boring answer. I know it's going to be hard to get something, but if we approach that JT owner, I think we could. Looks like most people in the chat would prefer having Gibson over Devin Singletary there. I can't blame you at all with Naheem Hines coming in. Now, Daniel says, choose to Rachaad White, Khalil Herbert, or Sony Michel. Kelly's on the IR. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. If Austin Eckler were to miss, we would go with Khalil Herbert and Sony Michel. If we go Khalil Herbert and Sony Michel, I know you were asking in the context of Eckler missing earlier on. Now, Scooby Drew says, I love the name, says 12-team full PPR, trade away Swift, Gabe Davis, and Garrett Wilson for Jefferson and James Conner. Hell yes, we're doing this. Give me James Conner over Garrett Wilson. Give me Justin Jefferson over the combo of DeAndre Swift and Gabriel Davis. Phenomenal move. Justin Jefferson's still that elite level asset. Now, our next question coming out from Marshall says, we have JT and Keenan. Considering they both don't play, we have Palmer in the first flex spot, Dobbs in the second. Do we drop Dobbs and pick up Deion Jackson? I would rather start Deion Jackson over Romeo Dobbs this week. Rest of season, I'd rather have Dobbs. So it's walking the fine line of what we should be prioritizing, whether that's points in the starting lineup this week. Like I said, I think Deion Jackson, in the case of Jonathan Taylor missing, would be better. But also at the same time, I don't know. If JT comes back rest of season, I don't know what we're doing with Deion over Dobbs. So I think that is up to you, my friend. I would rather play Deion Jackson over Romeo Dobbs, definitely on that flex spot if JT misses. And John says trade Lockett for Pickens and Rachaad White. We have Fournette. I would probably keep it with Lockett. Crypto Raptor says a full BBR double flex league. One quarterback, Kittle and Pierce for Jalen Waddle. I would probably go Waddle, but I am the biggest Waddle fanboy in the entire world. I think most people will tell you Kittle and Dameon Pierce. Rich says, what you think, boss? Traded Jalen Hurts for Jonathan Taylor and Justin Herbert. Oh, my gosh. I like Jalen Hurts, obviously, has the rushing upside that Herbert doesn't have access to, but phenomenal trade. And happy to see you out here. Long time no see, my man. And 420 Gale says, got offered Swift for Lockett straight up. Go get Swift. Worried about the health. We have Najee, Connor, James Robinson, Deontay Foreman, Lockett, McLaurin, DJ Moore. You could have told me we have Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, and I would still tell you to trade Tyler Lockett for DeAndre Swift. Sawyer says Pacheco, Zay Jones, or Woods if Austin Eckler's out. If Malik Willis takes the start for the Tennessee Titans, I think you cannot play Robert Woods. I think you have to go Zay Jones. If Tannehill takes the start and we have no Treylon Burks, I'd be fine if you wanted to go Woods. Mark says Lamb and Deontay Foreman for DJ Moore, Jonathan Taylor, and Deon Jackson. So Lamb to Jonathan Taylor, I think is going to be a lateral move. I think we would take the Jonathan Taylor and Deon Jackson side, especially if you have that backup for JT. Lou says, should I do Cook and Pickens for Swift and DK? Don't know if you should do Cook, but I think maybe for trading Dalvin Cook for DeAndre Swift, maybe you can make the argument we're getting a slight downgrade there. Pickens to DK Metcalf, we're getting a slight upgrade. I think it's a very fair deal, and it's going to be up to your roster, my friend. Now, Ryan Sims says Kupp, Cook, Swift, Kittle, and Amari. Should I trade Walker and Higgins for DeAndre Hopkins? No, I mean, I love DeAndre Hopkins, but you can't do this. Mahomes, Patterson, Jamal Williams on the bench. Yeah, don't overthink this. Please keep Kenneth Walker and T. Higgins. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins looks like a top 5 wide receiver in here, but at the same time, Kenneth Walker could be a top 10 RB. I mean, hell, T. Higgins could be a top 10 wide receiver. Traded 2 players that could be top 10 at their individual position to go get a slight upgrade at receiver. Now, Preston says, who should we flex if Keenan is out? Kenyon Drake if Gus doesn't play, Tyler Algier, or DeAndre Carter. We go Drake top dog if you have no Gus Edwards. Then Tyler Algier if we have no Cordell Patterson. Then last but not least, DeAndre Carter. Arthur says, Hines or Damian Harris rest of season. Full BBR format. I'm fine if you want to roll the dice with Nyheim Hines, knowing Damian Harris will not catch the ball. I think you only want Damian Harris if it's a non-PPR league. Zach says, I just traded Deontay Foreman and Kadarius Toney for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Amari Cooper. And people are telling me in my league that this is a losing trade for me. I feel like it's a big win. I mean, I would rather have Deontay Foreman over Clyde Edwards-Helaire at this point, but easily give me Amari over Kadarius Toney. I mean, I like Amari here. Amari's been crushing it. You're going to get Deshaun Watson back in the long term. And wait until you see the video that we have coming out tomorrow about the wide receiver playoff schedules. Amari is in a very good spot, my friends. Now, Chris says we have Tua, Chase, Lamb, Keenan, Zeke, Etienne, Hogginson, Lazard, Dylan, Rondale Moore, Drake London, Eno, Benjamin. Any suggestions with trades? We're currently sitting at 4-4. Oh my gosh. I don't think we have anything. If we could upgrade running back 2, that'd be great. The only thing I'd say is I would like to upgrade running back 2. I don't see a clear trade that makes sense. Maybe we can change how we're constructing the roster down here at the very bottom end, where we are rostering, I mean, Lazard, Rondale Moore, Drake London, where we already have, I guess we have Chase injured up top. You know what? We should have those guys. Great team, well-balanced roster. Maybe if we could sell Hawkinson for Freiermuth, I would. I think Freiermuth's going to be better going forward, given the fact that you have no Claypool in Pittsburgh, and I think it takes a little bit of time for Hawkinson to get going in Minnesota. I think that would be exciting. Now, Zoso coming out with a massive dono. Thank you so much. Says, in a 10-team full BBR format, we have Allen, Cook, Mixon, Walker, Hopkins, Gabe Davis, Pittman, Palmer. Should I accept the trade for Eckler, Sutton, and Lazard for Dalvin Cook, Gabe Davis, Michael Pittman? Hell yeah, right. Feel like we're getting a steal. If we're going from Dalvin to Eckler, massive upgrade. If we're going from Gabe Davis to Lazard, downgrade. Pittman to Sutton, downgrade. I don't really care. It's a 10-team league. You're already loaded in the starting lineup. Austin Eckler is the running back 1 so far this season, averaging 25 points per game. Maybe if this was like a 12-team league with multiple flex spots where we didn't have a lot of depth, then you could talk me into going with some of the wide. No, go get Austin Eckler. Go get the best running back in the deal, especially with this roster and these settings. Now, Mina says, Pierce, Juju, and Herbert for JT and Godwin. I would say most people have Pierce and JT in a similar range at this point. Herbert, Juju. If this is Khalil Herbert, go get Jonathan Taylor. If this is Justin Herbert, I'd be hesitant to tell you to make the move. Now, Shark coming out says, hey, Mason, in a 12-team full BBR format, my running back 1 and 2 played already with Pierce and Sanders. We're starting Juju and Jefferson at wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. We need some help with the flex between Palmer or Raheem Mostert. If Keenan Allen were to miss and it's a full PPR format with no Mike Williams and no Keenan Allen, and they're going up against the Atlanta Falcons, I wouldn't mind if you wanted to go Joshua Palmer. I will tell you, Raheem Mostert has a significantly higher floor, though. Now, Dylan says, I'm thinking about trading Josh Allen and Waddle for Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kyler, and JT. Do you like this deal? So going from Waddle to Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think that they are very comparable. And honestly, I don't want to waste our time thinking about it too much. Maybe Waddle is slightly better from a points per game standpoint rest of season, but Amon-Ra St. Brown's already gone through the bye. If we're going from Josh Allen to Kyler Murray and Jonathan Taylor, obviously it is painful to trade away Josh Allen. I never want to tell anybody to make a move like that, but we may just have to. So let's go ahead. Let's get JT. Most people are going to tell you to keep Allen. Let's go get JT and Kyler. Now, Sean says trade Michael Pittman for CeeDee Lamb and MVS. I would rather have Lamb over Pittman. Hell yeah. Dylan says we have Hurts, Kamara, Etienne, Jefferson, Diggs, Everett, Walker, and Olave on the bench. Currently 7-1 and just got offered Olave and Etienne for Devontae Adams. What are your thoughts? Go get Etienne and Olave. I love it, my friend. No, actually, you have those guys on a roster. Please don't make this deal for Devontae Adams. Let's go ahead. Let's keep Etienne and Olave. If you're wanting to trade for a stud receiver, maybe you can move like Olave and a bench piece and go get Jamar Chase. If you're 7-1 and just thinking about the fantasy football playoffs, don't be trading away Travis Etienne at this point, though, my man. Now, Rich coming out again says 4-4. We have Swift, Williams, JT, Herbert, Jefferson, Pittman, Myers. Should we trade Garrett Wilson and Williams? I'm assuming this is Jamal for George Pickens, Joshua Palmer, and AJ Dillon. Garrett Wilson to George Pickens, upgrade post Chase Claypool trade. Jamal Williams to AJ Dillon. I actually kind of like it. I know you have Swift, but if we are thinking about who has league winning upside, I mean, I would make the argument you're not excited. At least you're not too excited to go through and start Jamal Williams or AJ Dillon in the case where the starter in front of them will be healthy. But if the starter were to go down in Detroit with DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams becomes a low-end RB1, high-end RB2. If Aaron Jones were to go down in Green Bay, then all of a sudden you have a top 5 running back minimum with AJ Dillon. Easy. So I think I would make this deal. We're upgrading with Pickens. I think we're upgrading with Dillon. Palmer's just a little sweetener. Now, I think that's all we got for it. Of course, thank you so much for hanging out with us in this live stream tonight. I mean, this was about our, 150th live stream in a row. Feels like I have not missed a day in like 150 days. If you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like for us, please. It actually does help us in the algorithm because I'm going to be keeping this up as a video later on. So I would really appreciate it if you drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. I'm going to continue to live stream and not miss a single day for you until the end of the season. And also, if you want to check out any of these player props, you can find the link to that in the live chat on Underdog Fantasy. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Not only are they going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200, but only with promo code FLOCK. Only with promo code FLOCK are you going to get access to this Derrick Henry special line over under half a rushing yard. But I think that's all I got. This will show up for everybody on Friday. So tomorrow, for everybody who used promo code FLOCK on Underdog. And I promise you this, nothing supports the channel more, nothing supports these daily live streams more than going to the link in that live chat, going to the link in the description, and signing up with promo code FLOCK, depositing $10. You have $20 in your account. Go bet to 20 on more than half a rushing yard from Derrick Henry. But thank you again. I truly appreciate all of you. Hope you have a great night, and hope we get to see you in the live stream tomorrow night.